National League.
Well, now, don't you get too technical now. The Boston Red Sox left fielder. That's all I'm going to say. All right, Robert.
Ted Williams. And it would be Williams Field. And
Williams Field is right. And do you know where it's located?
Wouldn't that be in Chicago?
No. It's, John, do you know where it is?
No, I just want to say the Red Sox in the American League.
Oh, I see. Well, Williams Field is located in Chandler, Arizona. Now, here's the last part of the question. The right fielder for the Chicago White Sox. Robert?
Kathy Wright, and that's right field here in Chicago.
No. We've got to spread these fields out over the country, see? Right field is in Dayton, Ohio, Robert. Yeah. But you were right in the answer you gave me. Now, we have two hands left up here. Ruthie?
Well, I always thought that right field was in the baseball diamond.
Oh, Ruthie. Oh. That was very, very good, Ruthie. Now, 2 out of 3 on this question from Pauline Salzman of Grand Rapids, Michigan. She says that today's change to longer skirts would never have bothered certain operatic heroines and wants you to tell why this is true of the following. And the first heroine is Leonore in Fidelio. Leonore in Fidelio. Ruthie?
Because she disguised herself as a man, Fidelio, so it wouldn't have affected her at all.
That's right. That's correct. And how about Mimi in La Boheme? Pat?
Well, she was a dressmaker.
So?
So she wouldn't have to worry about it.
That's right. She could make them short or long. Mm-hmm. And how about Mariandel in Der Rosenkavalier? Mariandel. What about that one? You give up on that one? Well, she is actually the page boy, Octavian, who is disguised in feminine attire while posing as a maid. Well, I'm sorry, but that's a miss, kids. No, wait a minute. It isn't a miss. We asked for 2 out of 3, and you gave me 2, and I gave you the third one, so it is not a miss. Now, this question is from Mrs. Elsa Tatch of San Antonio, Texas. It is now more than a year since the atom bomb was tested at Bikini Atoll. If someone were to tell you that this test was a failure because only about 14% of the ships were sunk, what facts could you now present to show that the test was extremely successful? John?
Well, in the first test and in the second test, the ships were all poisoned by radioactivity, and so they, even if the ships weren't actually damaged themselves, when they got back in the port, there'd be a whole crew of dead men in them.
That's right. That's very, very right. Huh? And Lonnie?
Well, didn't they test on some animals? Some goats, I think?
Yes.
Well, the goats died, didn't they, soon afterwards?
Well, let's check with some
radioactive
of the other hands here. Pat, how about that?
Well, only 14% of the ships were sunk, but most of them were badly damaged and could never be used again.
Well, that's possibly true to some extent. John?
Well, in the goats, most of them, when they performed an autopsy on them and took them apart and see what was the matter, they found that the blood vessels in the body had expanded to such an extent that they had ruptured and split blood in all the tissues and muscles.
That's right. And speaking of the ships, even now, a year later, some of them are still so radioactive that men can remain aboard for only 8 hours at a time. And now, friends, we overhear Tom Moore in a little tete-a-tete with a cute little radio actress.
Why, Sally Mae, what goes today? You're looking not so gay. Did love depart and break your heart? What's the matter, eh?
Oh, Tom, I'm low. I'm full of woe because I was unwise. Today I learned my stomach is much smaller than my eyes. At noon I take some chocolate cake. At 2, some berry pie. And now I fret. I'm all upset. A sorry gal am I. In an hour or so I have a radio show, but they'll have to call a new girl. I just wouldn't dare to go on the air while my midriff is all in a whirl.
Now, Sally Mae, you mean to say a clever girl like you, when unwise eating brings distress, you don't know what to do?
Oh, of course I knew as well as you that Alka-Seltzer's fine when acid indigestion brings discomfort such as mine. Believe me, chum, I wish for some. I'd take it if I could, but the Alka-Seltzer I don't have can't do me any good.
Why, Sally Mae, you've heard me say 1,000 times or more it's time to buy a new supply when tablets get to 4.
Now, Tom, don't preach. Just kindly reach in your jacket pocket. Donate some Alka-Seltzer, friend. I know you always stock it.
Ah, this is a touch, but I enjoy such. It's a chance to contribute relief. And I'm giving advice at no extra price to save you from similar grief.
Now, Tom, I'm confessing I've learned me a lesson, and you can spare me the rest of your speech. I'll stop at the store and I'll buy some more, and I'll keep Alka-Seltzer in reach.
I was going to say, when you got them away, that here's the smart way to do. When you stop at that store for to buy you some more, instead of one package, buy 2. Keep one in your home and take one when you roam. Then you'll never be in such a fix. When a radio show gives a chance to make dough, you won't have to give it the nix.
Oh, Tom, you amuse me. But would you excuse me? Alka-Seltzer has work to do now. And please let me know what you think of my show. I'm positive I'll be a wow. So long, Tom, and thanks.
That's what I like about radio people. They're so modest. Well, where were you, Joe? Oh, yes, we're up to the next question.
Right you are, Tom. And here we go with it. Mrs. W.A. Gores of Mentor, Ohio, sent in a singing question, and we have brought back a Quiz Kid graduate to sing the song for you children. She is a very appropriate young lady for this purpose, too, because the question is about household duties, and just this week she formally announced her engagement. I'm proud to present one of our original Quiz Kids, lovely Cynthia Klein. Cynthia, what's the name of this lucky fellow?
His name is Henry Kerm.
Uh-huh. Where did you meet him?
Well, we both were studying for our master's degrees at Northwestern University, and we met there.
I see. Well, what's he interested in, Cynthia? Besides you, that is.
He's going to be a chemist, and a good one, too. During the war, he worked on the atom bomb at Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Well, what do you know? Say, Henry is quite a guy, isn't he? When do you think you'll get married, Cynthia?
Just as early in the spring as we can possibly make it.
Well, that sounds mighty fine. You know, don't you, that you make me feel awfully old. I remember when you original Quiz Kids were just little tykes, and now when I realize that most of you are 21 and 22, well, you know, it was only a few days ago that Margaret Merrick was married, and you're the 6th, Cynthia. Oh, me. Well, I'll tell you, let's get back to that question about household duties, and I trust that you will be doing them soon, Cynthia. So let's hear you sing about them while the kids try to...
Lux presents Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, bring you the Lux Radio Theater, starring Lana Turner, Van Heflin, and Peter Lawford in Green Dolphin Street. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keeley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special occasion in the Lux Radio Theater. Special because we're bringing you the star you've asked for so often in recent months. That star is the glamorous Lana Turner. And to make the evening perfect, we present her with 2 co-stars. One is a longtime favorite in this theater, Van Heflin. And the other is the new box office attraction who makes his first appearance here tonight, Peter Lawford. The play is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's spectacular screen success, Green Dolphin Street, in which Miss Turner and Van Heflin play their original screen roles. Based on the best-selling novel by Elizabeth Goudge, it's a panorama of adventure set in the last century and one of the most dramatic love stories among recent motion pictures. It always pleases us when we can bring you stars you've asked for in your letters. Letters which so often tell us how useful you found Lux Flakes in your home. Lux Flakes is a star performer and makes possible a star performance like Green Dolphin Street. Here's the curtain for Act 1, starring Lana Turner as Mary Ann, Van Heflin as Timothy, and Peter Lawford as William. Between England and the coast of France are the Channel Islands and the harbor and the town of Saint-Pierre. It's 100 years ago. In his rather shabby cottage, Dr. Edmund Ozanne, surgeon, has an unscheduled patient.
Holy Moses! Bleeding like a stuck pig. Get over there and lie down. Not going to faint, are you?
I'm not quite sure.
Knife wound means a report for the police.
No, I don't want you to report it.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't.
Well, it's a private matter.
A woman, huh? And the man who carved you up was her husband?
No, he's her brother.
Brother. Huh. Very uninteresting. Here, take a drink of this.
What is it?
Whiskey. Ask some more questions and I'll drink it myself.
Thanks.
But drink it all. I've got to sew you up. This man with the knife.
I killed him. But I didn't lift a hand to him until he came at me with a knife. Then it was him or me.
They looking for you?
Well, not yet. But when his body's found,
Well, that's your concern, my friend. Now, if you're ready, I've got work to do.
I've been asleep. How long? You gave me something to make me sleep.
Ungrateful wretch, of course I did. How far do you think you'd have got if you hadn't had some rest?
I'm sorry. What time is it?
10 o'clock.
Who have you told about me?
No one.
When I came here this afternoon, there was a young man who opened the door.
My son.
Oh.
Don't worry. William won't talk. What made you come to me? I'm new in Saint-Pierre. Oh, didn't you know?
Maybe that's why I came.
This man you killed.
He was a fisherman. Bartolo. His sister told him that I promised to marry her. He chose to believe her.
But the lady of your choice is someone else.
This afternoon, before I fell asleep, you had visitors. I heard them.
2 pretty girls, friends of my son.
The Patterell girls from Green Dolphin Street. Marguerite and Marianne.
You know them?
What did you mean? What did you mean, friends of your son? Is he going to marry one of them?
Marry? My son? The richest girls in the island?
Well, I've seen them together. He was with Marianne yesterday on the shore.
Oh, I see. You're in love with her yourself, huh?
I don't believe I've spoken 20 words to her in 10 years. She's passed my shop. I've said good morning, but she doesn't even know I exist.
She'll know when they hang you.
Well, maybe they won't if I can get away tonight.
How?
Well, there's a ship in the harbor. It leaves tomorrow for New Zealand. Here. It's all the money that I have.
£10? I'll take 6 shillings, including the glass of whiskey.
No, I'd feel better if you took it all.
And how do you think I'd feel? I'll get out of here.
I'll never forget you, Dr. Dozan. Thank you.
Marianne, are you still awake?
I've been thinking, Marguerite.
Marianne, not about that terrible murder.
Oh, why would I think about that? I've been thinking about that ship in the harbor. Oh, it's the most beautiful ship I've ever seen. Tomorrow morning I'm going aboard, if they let me.
Marianne, I've been thinking too. Is it possible to fall in love with a man you've known only 5 days and seen only 3 times?
Yes, I think it is.
That means you're in love with William Ozanne too.
No, but I could be in love with the man he could be.
Oh, isn't it wonderful that Dr. Ozanne should come back to Saint-Pierre after all these years?
Well, it's more wonderful that he has a son as handsome as William.
Marianne, whichever of us he chooses, if he should choose one of us, oh, Marianne, it must never make any difference between us.
Nothing ever could or ever will.
But how could William not fall in love with you? You're so striking. And you have a brain.
But you're the beauty of the family, darling. I wonder if William would want to see that ship tomorrow.
Why don't you ask him?
Yes. Yes, I think I will. First thing tomorrow morning. Well, aren't you glad you came, William? Did you ever see anything prettier?
Oh, she's a fine ship, all right. What is she, Marianne?
One of the new clippers, the fastest ship afloat.
Look at her name. The Green Dolphin.
Ah, and you live on the corner of Green Dolphin Street. That's a sign, William.
And what do you think you're doing there?
Where are you from and what cargo?
New Zealand, my pretty. Cargo of timber.
Well, you've got the most perfect ship I've ever seen.
Captain O'Hara, ma'am, at your service. And since you like the ship, come aboard and look around.
Well, thanks, we'd like to.
And this is my cabin. Come in, come in.
Well, it looks more like a museum.
That's a shark's head on the wall. Maka shark. Caught it in the Tasman Sea with a boat hook. Yes, New Zealand's a beautiful country with a grand smell of the forest. A fine, sweet land with timber and flax. Wonderful pasture land, belonging to no one.
There are places like that in this world, and I have to live and rot on this little island.
You're a man, William. You don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Captain O'Hara! Captain O'Hara! I'm coming. Drunken sailor, likely. Wait here if you'd like.
Thanks, but I think we'd better be getting ashore.
Then good day to you both.
Have a good voyage, Captain. And if you ever come back to St. Pierre...
I will, miss, 1 year or another. All right. You better leave off the stern. The bit of trouble seems forward. All right, Mr. Wiley. What's going on here?
Found this man below, sir, in the hold.
Well, who are you?
What difference does it make?
Toss him overboard, Mr. Wiley.
No, wait, please. My name's Timothy Haslam.
And all bandaged up, eh? You wouldn't be hiding from the police.
Yes, I am. I want to get out of this country.
I like the way you look me in the eye, Mr. Haslam, and the way you speak up. All right, I'll help you. I'm a man short in the crew. My name being O'Hara, I've no love for the British police. Take him below, Mr. Wiley. Keep him hid.
Yes, sir.
You'll be safe enough, Mr. Haslam. The English law can't reach you in New Zealand. Mr. Quincy.
Yes, sir.
We're lifting anchor in 1 hour.
Oh, I can still see her, William. The Green Dolphin, full sails, flying like a hawk out to sea.
Oh, I believe Marianne's fallen in love with that ship. She's talked of nothing else all day.
Well, then let's talk about William.
Ah, yes, indolent, good-for-nothing William.
Oh, after all, a man must have some sort of a career.
I told you I'm thinking everything over. Perhaps I'll be a sailor on a clipper ship, like the Green Dolphin.
Oh, no, not on a clipper ship, William. You're going into the Navy.
Really?
Yes, to be an officer and a gentleman. And I'm quite serious.
Now I'll be serious. I've thought of the Navy 100 times. But my name is Ozanne, and not Paturel. It takes money and influence.
And suppose someone found a way to provide the money and the influence?
No, that's just talk. Who?
My father.
Marianne. Oh, how wonderful, Papa, of course.
And do you suppose that my father would permit that?
I know he'd permit it, if it were for your good.
Well, the mere idea seems to make you both exceedingly happy.
And you want us to be happy, don't you, William?
Oh, I'm a bad risk. Your father knows it. He's a clever man.
And I'm my father's daughter. I'll talk to him tonight.
Repeat, Marianne, going aboard a strange ship with that uncouth ragamuffin. How could you?
You're right, Papa. My behavior was most unladylike. I ask you to forgive me.
Oh. Well, then, we'll say no more about it.
Thank you, Papa. But what about William?
I'll forbid him to see either you or Marguerite.
Well, that might be easily arranged, Papa. You see, William wants to leave St. Pierre. He wants to go in the Navy.
Well, not my problem.
Well, we'd be rid of him then, wouldn't we? And when he comes back, why, he'll be a gentleman and not nearly so offensive. But, of course, it takes influence and money.
Not my money, oh, no.
Mama's very fond of William. Wouldn't you like to treat William as if he were the son Mama has always longed for, but never had? Oh, but mind you, it won't be easy. Dr. Ozanne's a very proud man.
Well, he wouldn't dare object. Why, it's the chance of a lifetime for William.
I still think he may refuse.
Well, we'll soon find out. Proud, is he?
Oh, I wouldn't see him tonight, Papa. Tomorrow will do.
I shall go tonight. I shall go now.
Oh, and take Dr. Ozanne a bottle of brandy.
I will not.
Our best brandy, Papa. The kind you smuggle in from France.
Marianne, that's a word I've forbidden in this house. Marcel, get me my hat and a bottle of brandy.
Marguerite, aren't you coming down to the harbor? The Orion's been sighted. William's coming home.
Well, of course I'm coming. I'm just writing in my diary.
He's been gone 2 years, and you have to write in your diary. Well, I'm not going to wait for you.
And today, William is coming home. How slowly the time has passed since he left for England and the Royal Navy College. But now, at last, William is home again.
I know I'm most indelicately early for dinner, Marguerite. It's very kind of your father to invite me.
Oh, he's proud of you, William. He'll be down in a moment. And Mama and Mary Ann.
Then I must make use of that moment. It's the only moment I've had with you alone all day. And since we're sailing out again tonight...
Oh, such awful news, William. I thought you'd be home for days and days.
Then it mattered to you?
Yes.
Marguerite, ever since I've been away, I've thought of no one else but you. I love you. May I say that? I love you.
Oh, keep saying it, William, because I love you, too.
Well, it must be our secret, darling. Until I have the right to tell the whole world. And all the time I'm...
Shh, they're coming down. We're in here, Mama.
Good evening, William. I'm so sorry your father could not come.
Well, his patients become ill at the most inopportune times, madam.
Your sin, William. You must ask him to give you a tonic.
Oh, that's a life of discipline, Mama. The best thing in the world for a man. So, you're off to China tonight, William?
Yes, it's rotten luck. Our orders were waiting here for us.
Papa says that knowledge of the Orient is most important nowadays.
Well, I suppose it is if it matters.
William, let me look at you.
Well?
I'm most pleased with you, William. Yes, I think Papa will be very happy with his investment.
It has been weeks now since William kissed me goodbye. By now he must be in China. Centuries until he comes home again. But until he does, no one must know, not even Mary Ann, how much I love him.
I'm writing this letter from a little shop in Hong Kong. By coincidence, the Green Dolphin is also in the harbor, and I hope to see Captain O'Hara shortly. Wait for me, Marguerite. This little necklace will say I have always loved you. And when I come home, I will ask your father for your hand in marriage. Thank you very much for the pen and paper. And for speaking English.
I hope lady is pleased with necklace, sir. Sir, before you leave city, you wish to see places of interest?
Well, yes, I'd like to.
Oh, come inside, sir. My brother, excellent guide of city.
Thank you, but my letter and the necklace...
I will see they are mailed on first ship for England. This way, sir. This way.
Makes sense, Mr. Wiley. What the devil are you trying to tell me?
That there's a man in your cabin, sir. Naval officer. With the smell of whiskey that would bend our mast.
Naval officer? Holy saints.
He staggered aboard before we sailed. Since he was a naval officer, well, sir, I thought you were in your cabin at the time, sir.
Wake up. Wake up, you fool. Who the devil are you?
Captain O'Hara.
You drunken slop. What do you think the ship is?
You don't remember me, St. Pierre?
What's that? Oh, yes. You were with that beauty, the Paterelle girl. What are you doing here?
Well, I had shore leave. I was seeing the city. They gave me something to drink.
No more brains than a flea. You've been drugged, mister. Drugged and robbed. Ha! And you an officer of the Navy.
When I woke up, my ship had sailed. I thought that perhaps you could help.
You should have gone to the British consul. Instead of that, you're now a deserter.
But I can still go to the consul.
Oh, you can, eh? 5 hours out at sea.
What are you talking about?
We're bound for New Zealand, Port of Wellington.
New Zealand?
You could be worse off. You'll be safe from the Admiralty, and fine young muscles like yours will be at a premium amongst the settlers.
Oh, but I'm going back home. I've got to go back.
To what? Disgrace? Prison? Suit yourself, my lad. You've a long voyage to think it over. Well, Ozanne, I'm ready to up anchor and leave Wellington, which means you're through with the Green Dolphin. You'll find it's a fine country here as long as you stay away from the liquor. Now, if you want more money...
No, you've given me enough. I'll find some sort of work.
Keep a good heart, son, and I'll get word to your father.
But not a word to anyone else. And if you ever tell the Paterelles...
Have no fear of that. God bless you, son.
You at the bar.
Yes, sir?
Bring me another drink.
You're from home, huh? You new to this country?
That's right. Came in last week.
You got a job?
Nope.
Well, I've got a place up in the back country getting out big timber. You can join up with me if you like.
You don't know anything about me.
As much as your father knew about me back in St. Pierre when he sewed me up and didn't tell the police.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember you. You killed a man and got away. They posted a reward. Your name's Haslam.
Keep your mouth shut. My name's Taharuhu. The Maoris gave it to me. That's all you need to know about me.
Well, the same applies to me.
Well, if you come, I'll work you harder than you've ever worked in your life. You'll be in a wilderness with no one but natives, and they'll have no particular love for you. Oh, yes, one more thing. You'll have to forget that girl back home.
Who told you about a girl?
The same mutual friend who told me about you, Captain O'Hara. Ozan, tell me one thing. Which of the two sisters was it? Marguerite or Marianne?
None of your blasted business.
Yes, you're right, it isn't. Well, are you coming with me or not?
I'll come.
Good. I hope neither of us will be sorry.
Our stars will return with Act Two of Green Dolphin Street in a moment. You know, Libby, the way we associate a word or a phrase with an idea often tells psychologists what's on our minds.
Oh?
Suppose I say, top of the morning. What do you think of?
That you should do better than that on your Irish brogue.
Ouch.
No, really. That typically Irish greeting makes me think of Paramount's delightful new picture. Of course, that makes me think of Bing Crosby. Shall I go on?
You can't stop without mentioning how beautifully Bing sings You're in Love with Someone and the other wonderful songs.
What a laugh-provoking team he and Barry Fitzgerald make in Top of the Morning.
With Bing as a big city detective and Barry as small-town police chief.
And Barry makes me think of Anne Blythe, who plays his daughter.
She makes a beautiful Colleen, well-groomed right down to her toes.
Well, you know, Anne is like that in real life, too. Her clothes are always perfection.
The kind of a girl who carries an extra pair of stockings so she won't be caught with a run?
No, Anne's smarter than that. She insists on Lux Flakes for her stockings, so she hardly ever gets runs.
Strain tests prove nylons really do last longer with Lux Flakes. Stockings washed with strong soap or rubbed with cake soap went into runs long before those washed with Lux Flakes. The Lux stockings lasted twice as long.
Luxing is easy. Those tiny diamonds of Lux dissolve in a jiffy. Make wonderfully rich suds that whisk away every trace of soil in a flash. And here's a tip for rainy days. If you get mud spots on heels, just work in a few dry Lux Flakes with your moistened fingertips. Spots disappear like magic.
This fine product of Lever Brothers Company protects fit, keeps colors truer, gives you so much extra wear, it's just like getting an extra pair of nylons every time you buy a pair. Here's your producer, Mr. Keeley.
Act Two of Green Dolphin Street, starring Lana Turner as Mary Ann, Van Heflin as Timothy, and Peter Lawford as William. Over 2 years have passed. Back in St. Pierre, Marguerite and Marianne Paterel have all but given up hope of ever seeing William again. But now, in the Paterel home, is Captain O'Hara of the Green Dolphin.
What do you mean this letter's from William Ozanne? William Ozanne is dead.
It's possible, but he was alive enough 5 months ago in Wellington.
I knew he was alive. I knew it. What about him, Captain O'Hara? What is William doing in New Zealand? Isn't he still in the Navy?
Due to an unfortunate incident, the lad severed his connection. Now, good day to you all. I have another letter to deliver to his father.
Dr. Ozanne died 3 months ago.
In that event, I'll get back to my ship.
Papa, the letter.
The letter is addressed to me.
Well, maybe Mama read it aloud.
I will not be bullied in my own household.
Oh, of course not, dear. Here, Mama, open it.
Dear sir, it is a long time since I've had the pleasure of addressing you. Much has happened, but now I feel I have earned the privilege of writing.
A deserter. I'll wager he deserted.
Go on with the letter, Mama.
I have been in the timber business for 2 years now. My partner is a man of great ability, and we have developed our little settlement into a garden spot with a comfortable dwelling. I don't know what life has brought you and your family. Yet I cannot but hope that your daughter Marianne is still unmarried, and that you would consider permitting her to live in such a rough but glorious country as my wife.
As his wife? Marianne, you...
The cheek of it, the conceit of the fool.
You're acting as though I'd been insulted, Papa.
And what would you call it?
An honorable proposal, which I intend to accept.
Marianne? She's right, Mama. Marianne always wanted to marry William. She'll never marry anyone else. Will you, dear?
No.
Then let him return here and show his face like a man.
I don't intend to wait. When the Green Dolphin sails, I'll be aboard her.
Your native friends are at it again. What is it this time, Ty? Talk of war or just talk?
Well, the witch doctor has just told him that a letter you wrote was delivered today on the other side of the world.
How could he know I wrote a...
So you did write a letter, huh? Well?
Yes, I wrote a letter.
It's a little frightening, the things these natives seem to know. The letter about a young woman, the Patterall girl?
Suppose it was. I wrote it that time when I went to Wellington. I'd been drinking a lot, and I'd never have had the courage if I'd been sober.
Which girl?
I offered her marriage and a life like this.
Which girl, I said?
Marguerite, of course.
Oh, Marguerite.
I'd written her from China. I sent her a necklace. I told her that I...
You think Marguerite will accept your offer?
Oh, are you crazy? Of course not. For her own sake, I hope she's already married.
Married or not, she'll get an answer, won't she?
Well, I'm not counting on it. You don't know her father.
The Green Dolphin should return in September. Let's see that we're in Wellington, just in case.
Now, there she lies, Miss Patterell. There's the New Zealand you're so determined to see.
New Zealand?
Now, hear me closely. William Ozanne has no cause to expect you on this ship. The best he could hope for was a letter, not a bribe.
You don't want me to marry him, do you, Captain?
I told you before, the letter I gave your father was handed me by a blurry-eyed William Ozanne, staggering out of a saloon. Surely it was written more in whiskey than in ink. Had I known it was a proposal of marriage, so help me, I'd have torn it to bits.
If William were a fine, strong character, what would he need me for? The very reason that he sent for me is because he knows that I can save him from himself.
You're bound to marry him, then?
Yes. And I'll make a fine man of William. I will. I will.
Well, it's here, William, the Green Dolphin. There's O'Hara out on deck.
And where else would he be?
He's not alone. There's a woman with him.
What the devil are you... Oh, it can't be. She came, Marguerite.
Look again.
Marianne. It's Marianne.
You stupid fool. Did you put the wrong name in that drunken letter?
I don't know. I must have. Well, what are you so upset about?
Listen to me. Did she ever show any signs of being in love with you, Marianne?
Oh, maybe she did, but I can't marry her. I'm not in love with her.
Are you going to send a girl like that back home turned down by a young jackass too drunk to remember the right name of the girl he loved? No, you won't do that.
She's looking for me.
Yes, and she's going to find you. Go out there now and put your arms around her and make her feel that you want her. And remember, her name is Marianne.
Don't worry. I'll go through with it. Marriage and all.
Well, it was a fine wedding, Mrs. Ozanne. There's an inn across the way. It's not too fancy, but I think...
Thank you, Mr. Haslam.
Oh, you know my name.
William's told me all about you. Imagine meeting a man from home. I thought I knew everyone in St. Pierre.
You've nodded to me on occasions.
You don't like me, do you, Mr. Haslam?
I'm just anxious about you.
Why?
I've been very close to your husband for some time now. He's changed since you know him.
Oh? For good or bad?
I merely suggest that you be patient with him.
Oh, I'll be patient. I have no idea that my husband loves me to distraction. And I did not travel halfway around the world expecting any miracles to have improved him.
Believe me, I only want to help you.
You can, Mr. Haslam. Is there any reason why we cannot leave for the settlement? You see, I refuse to spend my wedding night anywhere except in the home my husband has provided for me.
Well, I think that might be arranged. It'll take us over a day to get there. May I see about your luggage?
If you don't mind. And I'll find William.
It's amazing, Marianne, what you've done with this house in a few short months. But you should let the natives help you more.
I shall, William, after I've mastered their language.
You really like it here, don't you? A wilderness filled with savages, a house built of logs, no companions, no nothing.
I have you, William. As for companions, I can always talk to Mr. Haslam.
And you don't miss home? Oh, but you must. Your parents, Marguerite.
Marguerite? Do you realize you haven't mentioned her name since the day I arrived in Wellington?
Haven't I? Tell me about her.
Oh, she's well. But like so many beautiful women, she's become spiritually lazy. I don't understand Marguerite. She's had so many offers, but I don't believe she's been able to summon the necessary emotion. There was a time, William, when I thought Marguerite was waiting for you.
Really? Well, what made you think that?
May I come in?
Oh, please do, Mr. Haslam.
Oh, William, we can start loading the wagons tomorrow. With any luck, you can leave for the coast in another week.
Tell me, whose idea was it shipping timber overland in those slow, heavy wagons?
Why, Ty's idea. It's the only way to move timber.
Don't you know that it's always cheaper to transport bulky goods by water? And with a river right at our doorstep.
Now, look here, Marianne. Ty knows the timber business.
I'm sure he does. And I know the shipping business. Well, is that so funny, Mr. Haslam?
No, not at all. I'm just laughing at my own stupidity.
You should build barges. Float your timber down that river to the sea.
Well, I'm sure it's quite possible. What do you think, William? We could try it.
Well, it'd take weeks to build them.
Meanwhile, the natives can still be cutting timber. Actually, you'll lose very little time.
Well, it's up to you, Ty.
Well, let me see if I can design some sort of a barge. We can talk some more at dinner time about this.
Thank you, Mr. Haslam.
Are you really getting those barges loaded in a hurry, William? That chute was a fine idea.
My wife's idea.
Ah, because it was her idea, not yours, I suppose the two of you sat up all night arguing about it, huh?
Ty, I promised you I'd stick to my bargain, but I didn't agree to like it.
No, you didn't, did you? Well, I'll see you later, William.
Come in, Mr. Haslam. You've come to apologize for William again?
No, I've come bearing gifts. It's there on the porch.
A cradle? Oh, how kind of you. Well, you carved beautifully.
And perhaps the cradle is just an excuse, a sort of a peace offering. Tell me, why do you resent me so?
Because you have too much influence with William.
I've been able to influence William on only one thing. Not to give up when he takes on a job.
Why not come straight to the point, Mr. Haslam? I failed in my marriage. And you think I'm making you the scapegoat for my failure.
Your marriage is not a failure.
William hates me.
If I told you that hatred was only the reverse side of love, you'd ridicule me just as usual.
It's not true.
You can no more separate love from hatred than you can separate the two sides of a coin. To possess one is to possess the other.
I don't want scientific explanations.
Well, what do you want?
What do I want? I love my husband to the point of agony. And yet there's neither brightness nor warmth in our life. What do I want? Tell me, Mr. Haslam, have I been completely wrong in my handling of William? Or isn't it true that he is a better person?
Yes, that's true. He's improved.
Oh, but you think he'd be happier if I were more submissive and helpless?
Yes.
It would be a strange way to win a husband away from his own weakness by developing weaknesses of my own. Still, let me try, Mr. Haslam. My own way.
Well, the barges are loaded, Marianne.
When do you plan to leave?
Oh, we should be ready in 2 days.
Tell me something, William. Have I been a bad influence on you?
No man could have a better wife.
But we haven't got along. You know that as well as I do. Perhaps the baby will help when he comes. Oh, William, let Mr. Haslam go with the barges. Please stay with me.
Cutting the timber is Ty's job. Taking it to market is mine.
William, what's happened to us? Even when we're in each other's arms, there always seems to be 1,000 miles between us.
I know I've made you wretched, Marianne, but it hasn't been your fault. I'll do better, Marianne. I promise.
Oh, William.
There go the barges. We're alone, Mrs. Ozan.
Not for the first time. Oh, Mr. Haslam, will you please make those natives stop that chattering?
I couldn't stop them if I wanted to. That's the chant of the earthquake god. The natives believe there's to be an earthquake.
They've convinced you?
Well, William doesn't believe there'll be one, and I don't imagine that you believe it either. But when your house starts shaking, stand in the nearest doorway and yell for me. Good day, Mrs. Ozan.
I've told you to speak English. What have I been teaching you for?
I sorry, Mom.
Now, what's going on out there? Why have the men stopped working?
Earthquake come, Mom. All go to mountain to make prayer to God.
I've told you exactly what to do in case an earth...
Mom, come quick. Leave house.
What happened to me? What happened?
Well, you're alive. There are no bones broken. I had to bring you here. It appears that my house is the only place left standing.
William. What about William?
Well, they had 3 hours start down the river. Maybe they escaped the whole business. Anyway, you're to stay where you are, in bed.
Oh, my son. I shall lose my son.
You'll have your son.
No. It's too soon. Oh, Ty, please. Try to get a doctor.
It'll be impossible to get out of here for days. The whole forest's been ripped to shred. There's fire and there's flood. Besides, this isn't a country where a doctor lives on the next street.
My son. I thought at least I would...
Marianne, listen to me. You'll have your child. Inimoa's all right. Between the two of us, we'll be able...
No.
There's no choice but to trust me. Remember, it was you who chose this life for yourself.
I trust you. I will try to give as little trouble as possible.
That's better. We all may be dead by morning. Meanwhile, we'll do our best to keep alive. May I come in?
It's your house, Mr. Haslam.
My, look at you. You're exquisite. That's a bit more like your old self.
This is no time for compliments. And please be quiet. The baby's asleep.
Well, I finally got through to the next village.
William. Then there's news of William.
Yes, he's alive and he's safe. He reached Wellington.
Oh, you're not lying. You're not just saying that
I give you my word. Now, please, be calm. Please remember that
but
you
I
won't...
am calm. I have complete control of myself.
It's no good, Marianne. Now, face the situation. Why not be friends?
I'm not aware that we're not friends.
Yes, of course. Well, I've sent out natives to find William, to tell him that you're safe.
Thank you.
With any luck, your husband will be at your side again in a day or two.
I came as quickly as I could, Marianne. Oh, my poor darling, what a time you've had.
Oh, you're safe. You're here.
The baby, Marianne. Ty told me. Where is he?
In here, William. Only she deceived me. She's a girl.
Oh, my daughter. You can tell that she's going to be fair-haired. Look at those eyes.
Yes. That's why I've named her Marguerite. Marguerite Veronica.
We'll call her Veronica. Marianne, there was a letter in Wellington from Marguerite. Your mother and father... Well, there was an epidemic. They died.
Oh, no. No, but Marguerite, what of her?
I have her letter here. She's been spending some time at the convent.
Convent?
Yes, it's hard to tell just what's in her mind. She seems dazed, bewildered. What should we do, Marianne?
But the baby. We couldn't leave for home even if we wanted to.
Is there anything left here? What does Ty say?
Oh, he doesn't have to say. You must have seen for yourself.
Everything's lost.
Everything. But we have ourselves, William. And we have our child. We'll begin again. We'll begin again and we'll do better.
Yes. Yes, I think we will.
We pause now for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
When Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer cast a young actress in an important new Technicolor musical like That Midnight Kiss without even a screen test, well, she must have something. And that's what happened to our guest of the evening, lovely Bridget Carr.
Lucky is the word, Mr. Keeley. It was a thrilling experience to work with beautiful Katherine Grayson. She has a glorious voice and sings everything from opera to modern in the picture.
Hosea Turby, playing his famous self, makes a superb musical partner for Katherine.
And isn't Ethel Barrymore magnificent? Oh, it's hard to believe she celebrated her 50th year as a star recently.
Quite a record for the brilliant new tenor Mario Lanza to aim at. But he got a fine start last week at the premiere of the picture in Philadelphia, his hometown.
A musical romance with Katherine Grayson would be any leading man's delight. She's really beautiful. Her costumes, especially for the opera scenes in That Midnight Kiss, are stunning. Why, even her nylons were embroidered.
Sounds like gilding the lily. But I'm sure those nylons got the same gentle Lux Flakes care all the studio's nylons do.
You're right, Mr. Kennedy. I was surprised how well they wore. They were so delicate.
Not so surprising when you see the results of scientific strain tests, Bridget. Nylons washed with a strong soap or rubbed with cake soap went into runs long before those that were washed with Lux Flakes.
Oh, I'm a Lux Flakes fan already, Mr. Kennedy.
Then you know why Hollywood's most beautiful legs wear nylons washed with Lux Flakes. They fit better, last longer, and colors stay truer. These tiny diamonds of Lux whip into rich suds in a flash, freshen nylons in no time. Lux Flakes make nylons last twice as long. So it's just like getting an extra pair every time you buy a pair. Thank you for coming tonight, Bridget Carr. We return you to William Keeley.
The curtain rises on the third act of Green Dolphin Street, starring Lana Turner as Mary Ann, Van Heflin as Timothy, and Peter Lawford as William. 7 long years have gone by. 7 years that have brought out of the devastation of the earthquake a measure of prosperity and happiness to Mary Ann and William Ozanne. Still in the wilderness of New Zealand, they have reared their daughter and expanded the lumber business. And still at their side is their fellow exile, Timothy Haslam.
You two should have been with me to Wellington. The town is teeming with soldiers. The governor issuing a new proclamation 3 times a day.
You take it all very lightly, Ty. You know as well as I do that the natives are ready to revolt.
Well, in any event, I saw the bankers. They'll underwrite any expansion we care to make. That is, once the natives are under control.
What does that mean, another 6 months?
Now, don't underestimate the Maoris, William. It could be years.
Well, then, bank or no bank, our future's none too secure.
William and I have been thinking, Ty. Perhaps it would be best if we left here and went to South Island.
South Island?
Well, Dunedin, perhaps.
What are the timber prospects, Ty? You've been there.
Fair, I suppose.
But there is a great future in sheep farming.
Well, why sheep? I know timber. I like the business. Why not stick to it?
Because there's a bigger future in wool.
How do you know?
I've an instinct for these things, Ty. An instinct for making money.
How much of this is your business instinct and how much the safety of Veronica?
Well, it's mostly for her sake, of course.
Mm-hmm. In your opinion, William?
That we sell out as soon as possible. Go to Dunedin.
Yes, I think maybe you should. As for me, well, there's great suffering among my Maori friends caused by the colonials. They'll need help. I'm going back to them with medical supplies.
But, Ty, we can't wait indefinitely.
I'll not prevent your leaving whenever you like.
But you're our partner. Surely you'll come with us.
You don't know me very well, Marianne. I find very little value in life aside from my personal independence. That you and William should join me in my lumber business, that was one thing. That I should follow along now like a tame tabby cat, well, that's another. Now, where's Veronica?
Out there, playing at the river.
Well, then if you'll excuse me, I'll play at the river with her.
Have they deserted you already? already, Ty? William and Veronica?
Veronica couldn't wait to go aboard the ship. Oh, incidentally, William left a message for you. Try not to argue with me our last few minutes together.
But I'm still hurt that you're not sailing to South Island with us. I thought you had a real affection for William and Veronica.
I have. And for you.
Then why not come?
The reason I gave?
But you'd be what you've always been, the central figure in the picture.
Oh, I thought Marianne Ozanne must always be that.
I know myself better than I used to. Oh, I really don't know how I shall manage without you. So don't talk of losing your independence.
A man in love has no independence worth mentioning. Don't look so bewildered. I've been in love for years. With you.
Well, how can you say that? You certainly didn't love me when I first came here.
Long before that. Back home in St. Pierre. Even then I loved your faults as well as your virtues.
Have I still so many faults? At least I'm not proud now, am I?
No, you're not. And I love you for that, too, because I think that, I may have had something to do with that.
Yes, a great deal, Ty. Everything.
You remember what I said, that you can no more separate love from hatred than you can separate the two sides of a coin? Well, you hated me because I saw too much of your real self.
Then when I found you were with me, that everything was all right.
So you also love me?
Yes, Ty. I do love you. For you're all the man that I've tried to make William be. But I belong to William. And all I've ever wanted is his love.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm not going with you. You'll have a better chance of getting what you want if he has no one to turn to but you.
But I have his love.
Lana, don't be too sure. You've made progress, but your battle isn't won yet. Goodbye, Marianne.
Just a shake of your hand. Please, kiss me, Ty. I won't forget you. Ever.
If I believed in souls, I'd say that yours and mine are a very long acquaintance. Well, I'll say goodbye to William.
Don't look so sober, Ty. You should be glad to get rid of us.
You know, I'd not have missed these years for anything.
Not always happy years.
You made a good job of Marianne.
Most people would say she made a good job of me.
No, only a fool could have made the blunder that you did, sending for her instead of Marguerite. But only a man could have saved her then from disaster.
Disaster? Marianne?
That's the best mistake that you ever made, William. You see, if you hadn't made it, I'd really never have known her. Well, it sort of looks like you're about to cast off.
Ty, I won't even try to say thank you.
Please don't. Good luck to you. To all of you.
Oh, it's incredible, Marianne. Do you realize I stand to be the richest man in Dunedin? Oh, we should have come here years ago. Well, that's enough business talk for tonight. Where's Veronica?
Asleep, I hope. Oh, she's very proud of her father, darling, and so am I. That was a wonderful speech you made at the assembly.
Oh, only part of it was completely true. But whatever I may have accomplished here is entirely your doing.
William, I want you to do something for me.
You know I'll do anything.
Anything? You'd sell out here and go home, back to St. Pierre?
St. Pierre? But why?
Because of Marguerite.
Marguerite? But in her letter, didn't she tell you that she decided to become a nun?
Yes, she said that. But she's still a novice, William, and we can see her before she takes her final vows.
Oh, but why sell out? We have everything here, the finest home in Dunedin, the chance
This isn't really our home, William. There's that beautiful house in St. Pierre. It will be empty soon, waiting for us. And there's the family business that you could now run most efficiently.
You've forgotten that I can never go back. There's a little matter of desertion from Her Majesty's Navy.
I have a letter here. It's taken me over a year to get it. The charges have been dropped. You've been exonerated.
Exonerated?
Oh, think what home could mean to Veronica. The opportunity she'd have. But mostly, William, it's Marguerite, my own sister. You never knew what it cost me to leave home. to come out to a new country, to marry you. Oh, I want to go home, William. I do so want to go home.
I'll make arrangements immediately.
Thank you, William. And this was my room, darling, mine and Marguerite's, long ago when I was a little girl like you. Oh, Veronica, tell me, you do like it here, don't you?
It's just like I dreamed it would be. Oh, Mama, thank you for coming home.
Tomorrow we'll go to the convent and see Aunt Marguerite. Oh, I'm sure the Mother Superior will let... Veronica, what's that you have?
It's a necklace, Mama. See? I found it in Aunt Marguerite's desk. It was in this box. And I think there's a letter in it, too.
Let me see that letter.
I'm sorry, Mama.
No. It's all right, dear. Just give it to me.
Wait for me, Marguerite. This little necklace will say I have always loved you. When I come home, I will ask your father for your hand in marriage. Will you?
Mama, what is it? What does it say?
It's nothing, darling. Nothing at all.
Marianne, what's wrong, dear? Is it Marguerite? You've heard from her?
Yes, I've heard from her. Tomorrow she is to become a nun. It would seem we arrived just in time, William. I found this letter. Here, read it.
It was written a long time ago, Marianne.
You loved Marguerite. You loved her.
But that's all past now.
When you wrote my father, you lied. You loved my sister. But you sent for me. Why?
I'd hoped you'd never have reason to ask that question. The letter to your father, I wrote your name by accident instead of Marguerite's.
By accident? Then our whole marriage has just been a slip of the pen.
Marianne,
Does she know? Does Marguerite know of your accident?
She knows nothing. I never told a living soul. No, that's not quite true. I told Ty. I had to tell him.
Ty knew that the only reason you... Oh, of course he knew. You would never have married me if he hadn't forced you into it. Would you, William? Would you?
I'm the Mother Superior, Mrs. Ozanne. Your sister is expecting you. You'll find her there in the convent yard.
Thank you. Oh, Marguerite. Marguerite.
Oh, my dear. My Marianne. But your note yesterday, you said you would bring William with you and Veronica.
I had to see you alone. Marguerite, I found the letter William had sent you with the necklace.
Oh, my poor dear. I should have destroyed that letter long ago.
But don't you understand? It was you William wanted to come to New Zealand. But when he wrote Father, he put in my name by mistake. Oh, Marguerite, don't you hear me? Don't you realize what I'm saying?
I hear you, Marianne.
I knew you were in love with him. I fought you for him. And I always thought that I'd won him fairly. But Marguerite, he's never loved anyone but you.
Was it just an accident that you found that letter? Perhaps there is less chance in life than we realize. Perhaps it was intended to bring out the truth at last.
When I think of what your life has been, the heartbreak...
Do I look like a heartbroken woman?
You're becoming a nun because William married me.
And when you went away to marry him, there was nothing left for me, nothing. It was even worse after Papa and Mama died. I came here in complete despair. But here, I found another life.
Marguerite, can you ever forgive me?
There is no question of forgiveness. There is nothing to forgive.
Mrs. Ozanne, your husband is here. He wishes to see you.
He loves you. I'll send him to you.
No. Just tell William that I've outgrown the young, selfish love of a girl in her teens. That I've found here what I've been searching for all my life.
Marguerite.
Tell him
This is the way everything was meant to be. And if I once was unhappy, today I am supremely happy. Not because I've given something, but because I have been given everything. Tell him, Marianne, and then pray for me, that I may be worthy as you are worthy.
Marianne, I had to come here. I had to find you before I see Marguerite.
She doesn't want to see you.
Then I'll wait until she will see me. I've come to tell her that, much as I loved her once, my love is now only for my wife.
What kind of love, William? Something manufactured out of your sense of duty.
Oh, it'd be an unhappy world if the only kind of love was the love of youth. You're quite right, Marianne. I didn't love you when I married you. But I love you now as I never thought I could love anyone. But I can't make you believe that any more than I could stop loving you.
Why do I believe you, William? Where's all the courage I thought I had?
And perhaps you've given it to me, so that I can face Marguerite and tell her the truth. And so that you'll know that all there is in life for me is you.
There's no need to tell her, William. She knows.
You're praying.
She's giving herself to God, as God has given us to each other.
Our stars will return for their curtain calls in a moment. But first, Libby has a tip for everyone who loves flowers.
And loves a bargain. Right now, it's time to plant tulip bulbs. So the makers of Lux Flakes are offering a thrifty shopper's special. A rainbow tulip garden of 8 giant prize-winning tulip bulbs. All 8 for only 25 cents and the top from a box of Lux Flakes.
These healthy Darwin bulbs will grow anywhere, will make wonderful showy borders next spring.
You don't even need a garden. If you plant them in pots, they'll bloom in the house this winter.
In this special assortment, you get 8 different shades, including the famous black tulip, La Noire. It's a real showpiece.
This assortment is worth every penny of $1.25. But you get it for only 25 cents when you include the top from a box of Lux Flakes.
Jot down this address. Lux Garden Club, Los Angeles 54, California. You can order as many sets of bulbs as you like. Just include 25 cents in cash and a Lux Flakes box top for every set of 8 bulbs.
And hurry, while planting weather is right. This offer expires November 15th, 1949. It's good in the United States, Alaska, and Hawaii, and is subject to state and local regulations.
Here's the address again. Lux Garden Club, Los Angeles 54, California. Send tonight, sure. The supply of bulbs is limited. Here's Mr. Keeley with our stars.
Curtain time is especially exciting when we can bring back to the footlights such stars as Lana Turner, Van Heflin, and Peter Lawford, and here they are. Lana has recently returned to Hollywood, and we're all delighted to have her back.
Thank you, Bill. It's nice to be here.
Lana, you know you make even California look prettier.
She makes even Hollywood look prettier.
Well, it's nice to know you've missed me.
Well, of course, Van has been somewhat occupied with that French lady, Madame Bovary.
And very lovely, as played in the MGM film by Jennifer Jones.
And where was Peter Lawford?
Well, he and Walter Pidgeon just made the picture The Red Danube. The setting is in Vienna, you know.
And the picture has its premiere in San Francisco this week.
Well, you boys certainly have been getting around while I was away. I think I'll just stick to Bill Keeley and Lux. Lux is tops at my house.
Well, that's a very wise decision, Lana. And just to show our appreciation, we'll have some Lux Flakes in your car when you leave the theater.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. And now, won't you tell us about next week's play?
It's something to talk about, Lana, because next week's star is the one and only Bing Crosby. We'll present Bing in his great Paramount hit, The Emperor Waltz. And starring with him, we'll have Ann Blythe. This is a delightful story of romance in old Vienna in happier days, and is full of wonderful songs sung as only Bing Crosby can sing them.
Well, that'll be a grand show, Bill. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, and thank you all. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday evening when the Lux Radio Theater presents Bing Crosby and Ann Blythe in The Emperor Waltz. This is William Keighley saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Lana Turner, Van Heflin, and Peter Lawford appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Doctor and the Girl, starring Glenn Ford and Charles Coburn. Heard in tonight's cast were Joan Banks as Marguerite, Ed Begley as Captain, Bill Johnstone, Doris Lloyd, Herbert Butterfield, Alma Lawton, Janet Scott, Marlene Ames, Howard McNear, Eddie Marr, and Tyler McVeigh. Our play was adapted by S.H. Barnett, and our music was directed by Louis Silvers. This is your announcer, John Milton Kennedy, reminding you to join us again next Monday night to hear The Emperor Waltz, starring Bing Crosby and Ann Blythe.
Spry is a new Spry, better than ever Spry. You'll be a better cook when you use Spry. Spry makes a better cake, Spry makes a better pie. You'll be a better cook when you use Spry. Spry in your baking pan, Spry in your frying pan. You'll be a better cook when you use Spry.
For crispy, brown, digestible fried foods, try new Spry. Fried the Spry way, they're delicious. Why? Because new Spry is blander, plays up fresh, natural food flavors. For all you bake and fry, try new, better than ever Spry. Another fine product of Lever Brothers Company.
You'll be a better cook when you use Spry.
Be sure to listen next Monday night to the Lux Radio Theater presentation of The Emperor Waltz, starring Bing Crosby and Ann Blythe. Stay tuned for My Friend Irma, which follows over these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Lux presents Hollywood. The Lux Radio Theater brings you Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont in Crossroads. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Lana Turner was a high school girl sipping a chocolate soda at a drugstore counter and perhaps thinking about the latest Clark Gable picture when someone, not an astronomer, walked in and discovered a new star. But there was no mistake, because she was soon to see herself on the screen co-starring with Clark Gable. 3 years ago, one of the leading screen actors of France left the Paris sound stages to command a tank in the front line. He won the Croix de Guerre. When France fell, he made his way to America by way of Morocco and Lisbon. He began all over again in a strange land. And today, Pierre Aumont is a star once more. These two adventure stories join tonight as Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont co-star in the Lux Radio Theater. Lana has just finished making Slightly Dangerous over at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. And they're expecting great things at the same studio for Pierre's new picture, Assignment in Brittany. Tonight we're presenting them together in another Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer screenplay called Crossroads. There's a great thrill in discovering a new star, and that thrill is one of the things we try to give you as often as possible in these dramas which Lux Toilet Soap brings you each Monday night. When a star clicks, nobody has any doubt about it. If you'd seen Lana Turner's screen test or Pierre Aumont's, you too would have predicted stardom for both of them. I suppose I've seen at least 3,000 screen tests during the past 30 years. About half of them were girls, and most of them were very beautiful. Almost the first thing a producer or director observes in a screen test is whether the girl has a good complexion. If not, she has 2 strikes against her at the start. But girls with a Lux complexion always score a hit. But it's time right now for the first act of Crossroads, starring Lana Turner as Lucienne and Pierre Aumont as David Talbot.
The time I speak of was before the war, France, in the year 1935. Or is it only 8 years ago? It seems so much longer. I had been married 3 months then, and I thought that Paris had been made just to mirror my happiness. It was so gay and so full of light. There could never be tragedy there, or so I thought. Nothing but laughter and dancing and music. How wrong I was. My name is Lucienne Talbot. My husband was David Talbot of the Foreign Office. He was young and brilliant, well on his way to becoming an ambassador. He used to joke about it as if it didn't matter. Oh, but we both knew how much it meant to him. And then one evening, just before dinner, the letter came. The letter that was to change our entire life. I remember telling him I had a surprise for him in the dining room.
What do you mean, close my eyes?
We'll close them. And no peeking, David.
All right. Well, what happens now?
Right over here, please. Now, open.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, what does it look like? I baked it myself, with a little help from the cook.
A cake. But what is it for? Oh, darling, it's your birthday, of course.
With 91 candles.
No, of course not. Let's see. 91 candles, 91 days. Oh, we have been married 3 months.
And you forgot.
Darling, I'm so sorry.
Well, don't speak to me. I despise you.
Darling, would it help if I kissed you?
Well, it might.
Look at him. Did I tell you this morning I'm a very happy man?
Yes.
Oh, did I? And did I tell you this evening?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Well, it must be true,
Oh, David.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes, Albert.
Madame, this package came for you this afternoon.
A package? Oh, well, let me have it, Albert.
And, monsieur, this letter was delivered at the door just a few minutes ago.
Thank you, Albert.
Darling, it's a bracelet.
With the compliments of the groom.
Oh, but you told me you forgot.
Oh, no, you told me.
Oh, David, it's lovely. Did you pick it out yourself? You know, it makes me feel just like a bride.
Darling, you'll always be a bride.
David.
Wait a moment, dear.
Tell me something. When does a bride become a wife? David. David, what's the matter?
This letter.
What is it? Who is it from?
I don't know. Here, read it.
Dear Jean. Oh, well, that's not for you.
It's addressed to me on the envelope. Go on.
Well, it says, allow an old friend to congratulate you on your noble career. Accept my good wishes for a happy life with your bride. You are now able to pay me that old debt of 1 million francs. 1 million francs?
Read the rest of it.
May I suggest that you deliver the money to the old deserted farm, Santé Road. Throw it over the wall at 11 tonight. I'm sure you will understand the reason why this letter must remain unsigned. But what does it mean, David?
I have no idea.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, there's only one thing I can do.
David, I'm frightened. David took the letter to the police. Oh, if only I could have seen into the future that night. If only I'd known what it would mean to us. We could have paid the money and perhaps never been troubled again. As it turned out, David went to the deserted farm on the Santé Road, but the police were with him. There they found a man, a withered, misshapen creature named Leduc. Within a week, the man was brought to trial.
Carlos Leduc?
You've been brought to the bar of justice charged by the state with extortion. You're accused of writing an anonymous letter to David Talbot in which you asked repayment of a debt in the amount of 1 million francs.
Monsieur le President, the defense will prove that the letter written by my client was a straightforward request for money owed him and not an instrument of extortion.
Monsieur le President, the prosecution will prove that no such debt existed. A creditor does not request payment by asking that money be thrown over a wall in the dead of night. At least my creditors are not so imaginative.
Your creditors might be if you were living under an assumed name and they were considerate enough to help you keep your deception a secret.
The court would like to know to whom you refer as living under an assumed name.
If the court will permit my client to tell his story, my reference will become clear.
Very well.
Monsieur le Duc, will you tell the court, please, when you first met the man called David Talbot?
I met him in 1919, right after the war. In those days, his name wasn't Talbot. Then he was known as Jean Peltier.
Jean Peltier?
Yes, monsieur. He was a petty criminal with a list of crimes charged against him as long as a bell rope.
I claim the court's indulgence. But what has Peltier's record to do with charges against this defendant?
It seems quite clear that if a previous relationship existed between the defendant and Monsieur Talbot, whatever his name may have been, there is a possibility that the debt actually existed. Proceed.
There was one great talent this Peltier had, a talent for escape. He was never caught by the police. It was in 1922, 3 years later, that he came to owe me 1 million francs. It was a decent debt.
What were the circumstances of the debt?
I regret I'm not at liberty to give further details. Maybe Monsieur Talbot will explain.
Continue.
13 years passed, and I'd never heard of Jean Peltier. Then one day, about 3 months ago, I saw his picture in the paper. It announced his marriage to Lucien de Corville. I realized that Jean had changed his name. But whatever his game was, I had no wish to spoil it. All I wanted was my 1 million francs.
What had started out to be the trial of an extortionist suddenly became the trial of my husband. While the Duke was testifying, David sat staring at him, a puzzled frown on his face, the expression of a man who was trying desperately to remember. The spectators in the court leaned forward to catch a glimpse of him. Oh, they were so willing to believe the worst, so anxious to assume that Leduc was speaking the truth. But we had one friend, Dr. André Tessier, and when he was called to the stand, I noticed that David seemed to relax.
You're Dr. André Tessier?
I am.
According to the court records, you first became acquainted with David Talbot in 1922.
Yes, that's so, when he was brought to my hospital at Avignon. That was a few days after the wreck of the Paris-Marseille Express. It was a great disaster when a train hit an open switch and...
We're familiar with the details, monsieur. Proceed.
Well, I examined him, and I diagnosed his injuries as a sphenoid fracture with an attendant subdural hemorrhage.
One moment, please. Would the learned doctor be kind enough to explain these scientific terms? Just what do they mean?
For your information, monsieur, they mean that his head had been cracked open like a ripe watermelon.
Thank you. You are a psychoanalyst, doctor?
I am a physician, monsieur, specializing in mental diseases and nervous disorders. My office is at 41 Rue Torrance.
Continue, doctor, continue.
Yes, I will continue. Indeed, I will. David Talbot was very strong. In a few days, he recovered consciousness, but I discovered that the damage to the brain was greater than I thought. There was complete amnesia. He knew nothing of his life up to the moment he awoke.
Really, doctor? And how did you know the patient brought was David Talbot?
He was identified.
By whom?
By the captain of a freighter who brought him from Martinique, Captain Maurice Durand. He died a year later in a wreck off Madagascar.
Then only one man identified the patient, doctor.
David Talbot had never been in France before. There could be no one else.
And that man is dead. Unfortunate, isn't it? Go on, doctor.
Under careful and prolonged treatment, David Talbot became normal in every respect except one, memory. He still is cut off by a veil of blackness from that period of his life prior to 1922.
Have you any further evidence to contribute, doctor?
No, there is nothing more to tell, except that during these years, I became David Talbot's friend, as well as his physician. I know his soul as well as his brain. And to say that he is a criminal is rubbish.
That is all, doctor.
The attorneys had not finished. They called another physician to the stand, a man who claimed that no case of amnesia could ever be proved genuine. The court listened and believed. Once again I saw the doubt across their faces. The newspapers had the story now.
Monsieur Talbot has been mentioned as our next ambassador to Brazil. The people of France are entitled to know the background and character of their servant who aspires to a high place. Perhaps we shall learn something from Monsieur Talbot himself when he takes the stand this afternoon.
David on the stand. His face was drawn and pale, his nerves drawn taut by the ordeal. But outwardly he seemed quite calm and confident.
Monsieur Talbot, you have just told the court that the first time you ever saw the prisoner, Le Duc, was at the preliminary hearing.
Yes, Monsieur le Président.
Then what is your explanation of the debt to which the prisoner refers?
I have none. It's a fantastic piece of fiction.
Monsieur Talbot, can you tell us where you were on the night of March the 27th, 1922?
Of course. I was on the Marseille-Paris Express.
And how long had you been in Marseille before boarding the train?
2 days. I arrived from Martinique on the 25th.
How do you know?
How do I know? You heard Dr. Tessier testify that the captain of the freighter identified me.
Yes, but I also heard Dr. Tessier testify that there is a veil between you and all that happened prior to March the 27th, 1922.
That is correct.
Then how, may I ask, can you possibly remember having been in Marseille?
Well, I don't remember. I was told.
Oh, you were told. Then you will be kind enough to explain to the court. If you can remember nothing prior to the accident, how can you remember that you do not owe 1 million francs to my client, Carlos Le Duc?
What is the point of the defense counsel's statement?
Only this, that we will prove that Jean Peltier was also on that train, that David Talbot perished in the wreck, and that the man brought to Dr. Tessier was not David Talbot, but Jean Peltier. Silence! Silence!
Monsieur Talbot, have you made any effort to trace your origin or to forge a link with your past?
Monsieur le Président, I have made every effort. That I was aboard Captain Durand's ship has been well established. He said I came aboard at Fort de France, Martinique. 3 years ago, I went back there. I found nothing on the island that I could recognize.
You found no relatives or friends who knew you before your accident?
None. The name of Talbot was unknown in Martinique.
It must be very disturbing to know nothing of your past.
Well, not really. Not when one's present is so very full.
I assume you refer to your position in the Foreign Office.
And to my wife, too.
Monsieur the President, may the State examine Monsieur Talbot, please?
Of course.
Monsieur Talbot, what are your duties at the Foreign Office?
The gathering and correlation of information from our agents abroad.
Are government funds allocated for that purpose?
Yes.
Do you know where those funds are kept?
In my office, largely.
Now, would you be betraying a government confidence in telling the court the extent of those funds?
Well, it varies from 500,000 to as much as 5 million francs.
These funds are in your hands?
Yes.
In other words, it is a position of great trust.
I suppose so, yes.
Thank you, monsieur.
Monsieur le President, all this is quite beside the point. The mere fact that the witness occupies a position of trust is no proof of his integrity. Many criminals have occupied positions of trust for years before committing their embezzlements.
Monsieur, I protest this. I have been summoned to this court as a witness for the state. The defendant's attorney is treating me as if I were the prisoner.
Monsieur Talbot...
I demand that he confine his examination to the real issue, or that I be formally indicted and given an opportunity to defend myself.
Your point is well made, monsieur. The court will give it all due consideration. Next witness, please.
Madame Lucienne Talbot.
Madame Talbot, do you swear to speak without hate and without fear, to give the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Madame Talbot, when did you first meet your husband?
3 years ago, at the home of the foreign minister, Monsieur Duval.
At that time, were you aware that Monsieur Talbot was a victim of amnesia?
Of course. It was no secret.
And you have never had any reason to doubt your husband's identity?
Well, why should I doubt his identity? He is my husband. I am proud to be his wife.
Madame, tell me, have you any positive proof that your husband actually is David Talbot?
Positive proof? No, I haven't.
I see. Then the reason for your confidence is based on nothing more than the faith of a woman in love.
Do you know a better reason, monsieur?
That will be all, madame.
Thank you. The trial dragged through another day. Following morning, a woman was brought to the court. As she passed, she didn't even glance at David, but the jurors turned and stared at her. She was tall, well-dressed, and very beautiful. We discovered later that her name was Michelle Alain.
And what is your occupation, mademoiselle?
I'm a singer at the Sirène Club.
Mademoiselle Alain, do you know, or did you know, a man by the name of Jean Peltier?
Yes.
Where did you meet him?
At the races.
What was he doing?
Gambling on the races. What else?
You, were in love with him?
Yes.
Mademoiselle, when did you last see Jean Peltier?
On the night of March 27th, 1922.
Where?
At the railway station at Marseille.
What was he doing?
He was boarding the Marseille-Paris Express.
And you never saw him again?
No.
Will Monsieur Talbot step forward, please? This way, monsieur. Just stand right here. Thank you. Mademoiselle, who is this man? Come, please, come. He calls himself David Talbot, but who is he?
He is...
Well, the truth, please. He is Jean Peltier, the man you loved, isn't he?
Yes. Yes, he is.
I've never seen this woman in my life.
The court will decide that.
Be seated, monsieur.
Mademoiselle, can you tell us anything about Peltier that might identify him? A scar, a birthmark, some individual habit?
No, nothing.
Nothing peculiar about his hands?
Why, no. Oh, yes. Yes, there was something. He always wrote with his left hand.
Monsieur Talbot, with which hand do you write?
I write with my left.
Just a moment, please. There is a mistake. I must speak.
Dr. Tessier, you have not been
Monsieur,
called.
What sort of evidence is this? A left hand. Of course David writes with his left hand. When he was brought to me, his right hand was crushed, paralyzed. I taught him to write with his left hand.
Your information will be weighed along with the other evidence. Please sit down.
That afternoon, a note was given to the prosecuting attorney. He glanced at it quickly and then brought it over to where we sat. When David had read the note, he looked up in a puzzled way and then handed it to me. It said, "I have vital information bearing directly upon this case. I ask permission to present the evidence, documentary evidence pertaining to it." The note was signed Henri Sarou.
Your name?
Henri Sarou.
Occupation?
Wine salesman.
Give the testimony, please.
Well, I've just recently arrived from Africa. On reading the papers about this case, I ran across the name of Jean Peltier, and immediately I felt it was my duty to testify. You see, for many years I've represented my firm in North Africa. 4 years ago, I became ill. I was brought to the hospital in Sidi Bel Abbes. In the bed next to me lay a man dying of fever. I felt sorry for the poor fellow. I talked with him. I gained his confidence. He told me his name and the story of his life. It was a pathetic story, monsieur. Bad friends, a woman, thievery, the usual road down. 2 nights later, he died.
But you referred to documentary evidence.
I did. I have his papers here, which the dying man gave me. His name was Jean Peltier.
The trial was over, and the man Leduc sentenced to a year in prison. A week later, we gave a party, David and I, to celebrate the end of our troubles.
Darling.
Yes?
Te amo, ma querida.
Oh, thank you, David. But what does it mean?
Why, that's Portuguese. It means you are lovely, you are beautiful, you give me vertigo, and I adore you. That's a rough translation, of course.
Oh, well, not so very rough.
Pardon, monsieur. A gentleman has arrived.
Oh, why, it's Monsieur Sarou. Oh, how nice.
Madame?
I'm very happy to see you, monsieur.
Oh, you're having guests. Please forgive my bad manners in calling in such an awkward moment.
Or at least have a glass of champagne.
Well,
please do.
I can't impose on you like that.
Oh, it's no imposition. Albert, another glass, please.
We tried to look you up, but you're not in the phone book.
I wish you'd found me, madame. Paris is the wrong city in which to be alone.
I'm sure of that.
To your very good health, Monsieur Sarou.
Thank you.
We are very deeply indebted to you. I wish there were some way we could express our gratitude.
Oh, really, monsieur? Madame, to your happiness.
Madame, Monsieur Martin has arrived.
Oh, you'll excuse me.
Of course.
I went to the door to greet our guest. As we stood there talking, I glanced back at David. I knew immediately that something was very wrong. David looked as if he had just received a blow. Henri Sarou was smiling. I could not hear what was said. I learned that long afterward.
I'm sorry, monsieur, but what was it you said?
I said that I admired your nerve.
But you called me Jean.
And why not? That's your name. Jean Peltier.
After a brief intermission, we'll hear Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont in Act Two of Crossroads. And now, greetings to our young friend Sally. May I ask what that paper is in your hand, Sally?
Mr. Kennedy, I have written a poem.
Well, Sally, that isn't like you. Must be because spring is right around the corner. Okay, go ahead, but be quick.
But first, have you heard this one? She's always in a lather. That's why her skin's so nice.
Sally.
It's a Lux soap lather, you see, Mr. Kennedy.
Sally, either you read that poem right now or else.
Well, it's called To the Ladies, and it goes like this. If you'd be pleased with your reflection in the mirror, lady mine, just be sure that your complexion is a Lux one, smooth and fine.
That's no poem. That's a jingle.
There's another verse, though. If you want to be attractive, rouse the love light in his eyes, use the lather that is active, give your skin a care that's wise. That's all, Mr. Kennedy. And now you can give a little prose talk on why Lux toilet soap care is wise.
Well, then, here's why, very briefly. Lux toilet soap, you see, is made of only the finest ingredients. Its lather is luxurious, creamy. That's why it's right for delicate skin, why it cleanses thoroughly, but very gently, too. 9 out of 10 screen stars use Lux toilet soap daily. So why don't you try this gentle care for 30 days? Use it as screen stars do. Smooth lots of the creamy Lux soap lather well into your skin. Rinse with warm, then cold water, and dry with a soft towel. Do that several times a day, always at bedtime, and see what a difference it makes in your skin. It'll feel softer and smoother. Look lovelier, too. Get some fine white Lux toilet soap tomorrow. Now, our producer, Mr. DeMille.
Act Two of Crossroads, starring Lana Turner as Lucienne and Pierre Aumont as David Talbot.
There are many things I can tell now that I didn't know at the time. When everything was over and I could bring myself to think of it again, I pieced the story together, bit by bit, incident by incident. When Saru came to our house that night, I didn't know why, but I remember the look on David's face. I remember that they left the drawing room together. They went to the library on the floor above.
We can talk here, Monsieur Saru.
Splendid, Jean.
Why do you insist on calling me Jean? What's your game?
It's no game.
Why have you come here? What is it you want?
I want 1 million francs.
Really? Why should I give you 1 million francs?
Because you're a man with such a delicate past that to talk about it would cause you great embarrassment. You know, that was a wonderful moment in court when the defense attorney asked you, Monsieur Talbot, where were you on the night of March 27th, 1922? What would you have answered if he'd said, where were you that morning?
That would be a difficult question, even for a man with a memory.
Oh, yes, I forgot. You've lost your memory, haven't you? Please forgive me. Well, I haven't lost mine. I remember where I was that morning. I was in Marseille, and with my good friend Jean Peltier. It was a cold morning, that March 27th. I remember the old messenger wore earmuffs as he stepped out of the bank, carrying rather a large briefcase. He climbed into the taxi and ordered the taxi driver to take him to the Crédit Lyonnais Bank.
What are you trying to tell me?
I also remember that the taxi driver turned up a crooked little street where, for no reason at all, the motor stopped. Suddenly, the old messenger had visitors. The doors on either side of him opened and 2 men stepped in. They ordered him to hand over the briefcase. But the old man was brave. He decided to fight. So one of the men drew his gun and shot the old man squarely between the eyes, and he fell to the floor of the taxi. Oh, he was very, very dead. But then, of course, you don't remember. By the time the crowd had gathered, the 2 men had gone, and so had the briefcase, which contained 2 million francs. And the taxi driver, a man by the name of, what was it? Oh, yes, Le Duc.
Le Duc? You mean?
Yes. And when the police questioned him, he suddenly had a slight attack of amnesia. Yes. He couldn't remember that one of the men was myself, and the other, the man with the gun, was you.
You are lying. This is blackmail.
It's natural you should take that attitude, but it doesn't frighten me.
Le Duc wasn't frightened either. He's now in prison.
Le Duc is a bungler. I should never have entrusted him. Or Michel with such delicate business. I realized that during the trial. That's why I came to your rescue, my friend.
At least Le Duc had the decency to accuse me of being a petty criminal. Now it seems I am also a murderer.
You still don't remember, Jean? Oh, really? Now, try hard. Don't you even remember the burn on the back of your left hand from the flashback of the gun? It was rather deep. Deep enough, I imagine, to leave a scar. May I see the back of your left hand?
Get out.
Oh, come now. Don't cover your hand. We're friends. At least, we were friends, weren't we? Remember, we were supposed to meet you in Rotterdam about 3 weeks after you killed the old man. But you never got there, Jean. You skipped, didn't you? And with our share, 1 million francs.
I said get out.
All right, my friend. I'll get out. It'll give you time to think things over. But please don't think too long, because I may grow impatient. If I do, you'll hear from me in some way or other. Good night, Jean.
Hello. Get me the prefecture of police. Yes, I want... No. Wait. Never mind, I'm sorry. It's a mistake.
When I went to the library, I saw David sitting at the desk by the telephone. He was staring down at the scar on the back of his left hand. It was a week later that I had a visitor. David was working late at the office, and Albert announced that a lady had come to see me. When I went downstairs, I recognized her at once. It was Michelle Allain, the woman who testified at the trial.
Good evening. How do you do, Madame Talbot? I hope you remember me.
Yes, I remember you.
May I sit down?
Oh, please do.
Thank you. I suppose you're wondering why I came.
Well, I am rather surprised.
Well, you see, I felt it only fair to you and to myself to justify what I did at the trial.
You said my husband was Jean Peltier.
Yes. Oh, I wonder if I can make you understand, Madame. It must have happened to you, too. You're walking along a street, perhaps, or sitting in the park. Suddenly a face appears. For a moment you think it's someone you know. You almost call out. And then, well, all at once the impression is gone.
Well?
Well, that's what happened in the court. It's been on my conscience ever since. My only excuse is that he was so much like Jean Peltier. Here, Madame, I have Jean's picture in this locket. I've kept it for years. Look, Madame.
Why, that's almost...
You see how closely your husband resembles him?
Yes, they are very much alike.
Oh, the locket, please, Madame.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here.
Thank you. Well, I'll go now, but I felt I owed you a personal apology.
Well, you're very kind.
I'm sorry your husband wasn't at home, but perhaps we'll meet again sometime. I'm at the Sirene Club. Maybe you'll drop by some evening.
Why, thank you.
Please come. I should like to show him the picture, too.
Will you have some more coffee, darling? I think there's still some left.
Thanks. I think I'll take a little cognac.
Cognac? But, David, you never drink cognac.
I know. I just feel I'd like it tonight, that's all.
Oh, busy day, darling?
Yes, very.
Well, come and sit down next to me, and I'll tell... Come and sit down next to me and tell me all about it. Did we have our usual cabinet crisis? David?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, what's wrong, David? Is there something worrying you?
Oh, no. I was just thinking. What were you saying, dear?
Oh, I just asked if we had our usual cabinet crisis today.
No. We have them only on Fridays now.
Oh, I forgot. You know, darling, sometimes I sit here at home feeling sort of useless and unnecessary. Then I think of you and how important your work is, and I think, well, I'm his wife, and if he's important, so am I. And then my ego's all fixed up.
You are very nice, including your ego. What was that?
Oh, just the front door, darling.
Oh, I'll see wait, shall I?
Well, Albert will answer it.
No, it's all right. I don't mind. Excuse me, dear.
He was gone for just a moment. When he came back to the room, he was putting something in his pocket. It looked like a clipping from a newspaper.
Darling, I must leave at once. Something had just come up at the office. I won't be very late. At least I'll be back as soon as I can. Don't wait up for me.
Well, sit down, Jean. Make yourself comfortable.
I want to see Saru.
Do you? You must have been getting his messages.
I received one tonight.
Oh, yes, the newspaper clipping. He told me. The Times of March 27th, 1922. Bank robber slay messenger. Escape with 2 million francs. He has a sense of humor, hasn't he?
I find it a bit morbid.
Did your wife tell you about the picture in my locket?
Yes.
Yes, I thought she would. Look, Jean, do you remember when this was taken?
No, I do not.
Oh, but it is you, isn't it? A little younger, of course. A bit more handsome, Jean.
Where is Saru?
What do you want him for?
I want to talk to him.
You can talk to me.
All right. Every shred of decency I have tells me I shouldn't do this. But I'll give you a check for 50,000 francs.
50,000? Oh, no, Sherry. Besides, checks make Saru nervous.
I can give him cash.
No, but not that kind of cash, Jean. Not 50,000 francs.
No? Let's understand each other. At the moment, you have a certain nuisance value that's worth just so much to me. But don't make the mistake of assuming I believe this Peltier story.
Why, you faker. For 13 years, you've lived a lie, Jean. You fooled your wife, your friends, and even your country. You must have known that someday we'd meet again. What makes you think you can fool me?
I see I've made a mistake coming here. Good night.
Now, wait. You're forgetting something, Jean. Saru got you into that courtroom. Well, he can put you back into it again. But before he does, you'd better provide for those you'll leave behind. It's not going to help your case when the court hears you've let your own mother live like a pauper.
I have no mother.
Oh, no? Well, then go down to the slums. Go to 19 Rue Blanchot and see a ghost. Yes? What is it, please?
Madame.
Oh.
May I come in, please?
Well, I'm an old woman. I receive no visitors. The hour is late.
Madame, I'm in trouble. I need your help.
Yes, I see. Come in. Won't you sit down, monsieur?
Madame, I have a strange question to ask.
Yes, monsieur?
Do you know me?
Yes, I know you. From the trial, of course. I followed it very closely.
Oh.
I saw your picture in the papers. I was so relieved when it was over.
Why were you relieved?
You were in trouble.
Ah. Madame Peltier, do you have a son?
When he was little, he was a gay one. Always busy as a bumblebee. They grow up so soon.
Have you a picture of him?
No, I've never had a picture of him.
Would you say there was any resemblance between your son and me?
Some might think so, yes. But to a mother...
I couldn't be your son.
My son is dead. Everyone knows my son is dead. Why don't they leave the dead alone?
I'm sorry.
I'm an old woman, and I need peace. It's late, monsieur. I must ask you to leave. Oh, your shoes, they're wet.
It's nothing.
But it's a bad night. You should wear your rubbers. You'll take cold.
Madame, I hesitate to mention this, but if you have any need of money...
Oh, no. No, please. Good night.
Good night, madame.
Wait. Just let me look at you. Just for one more moment.
Madame...
Have no fear. Goodbye. And may heaven keep you. My son.
Madame! Madame, open the door! Open the door!
David, is that you?
Yes? Are you still awake, darling? I thought you'd be asleep for hours.
Oh, I couldn't sleep. I was so worried about you.
Worried? Why, dear?
Well, I didn't think you'd be gone so long. I called the office, David.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you know what happened. I never got to the office.
As I was going into the building, I met one of our men. He just returned from Brazil. So we went around to the club and got talking, and I had no idea it was so late.
Oh, David. Oh, darling, I love you so much. Don't ever leave me.
Go on, Lucien. What else has you worried?
Well, there are so many things, Andre. You're his friend and his doctor. That's why I've come to you.
I'm your friend, too. Now, what else?
Well, this morning, after David left for the office, it all came back to me again. Maybe Sarou's visit that night meant nothing, and maybe Madame Alain really meant to apologize for what she did in court. But David, he's so different. He's so changed, Andre.
Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. Your nerves have had a shock, Lucien. You went through the trial so beautifully. Never once did you let anyone see those little pangs of doubt that must have stabbed at your heart. It was a strain, my dear, but that's all past now. There's no doubt any longer, is there?
Andre, it's so strange.
What is?
I love him very much, Andre. There's nothing that can happen to that love. Nothing. And it would make no difference, even if I knew he was Jean Peltier.
Lucien.
We pause now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. In just a few moments, Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont will return in Act 3 of Crossroads. Why, Sally, you look very excited.
I am excited, Mr. Kennedy, because now's the time we're going to tell everyone about our wonderful Lux and Lux Toilet Soap offer.
Go right ahead, Sally. It's real springtime news we've got tonight.
It's news about flowers, thrilling news. Just think, for only 10 cents and a Lux opening tab, or a Lux Toilet Soap wrapper, you get 6 large packets of flower seeds. They're first quality from one of America's leading seed houses. The kind of flowers that are easy to grow and that everyone loves.
Exactly what kinds are they, Sally?
Well, there are Shirley poppies, doubles and singles in scarlet and pink. Candy tuft, wonderful for borders or window boxes. And cosmos in white, pink, crimson, and purple. You know, cosmos bloom till late fall and are perfect for cutting and... Goodness me, Mr. Kennedy, I'm out of breath.
Well, I'll come to your rescue, Sally. There are also morning glories called Heavenly Blue, and you'll find them well named. Then there are marigolds in vivid shades of gold and lemon yellow. And last but not at all least, there are zinnias, called dahlia-flowered giants, because they give big bushy blooms in almost every vivid color you can imagine. And here's a very important fact. All these 6 packets of seeds have been specially treated with plant hormones for bigger, earlier flowers.
Yes, Mr. Kennedy, these seeds are truly exceptional. And they've been chosen to give you a garden of blossoms that will flower from early summer till frost. Have borders of them around your Victory vegetable garden, too. And if you don't have space for a real garden, you can plant gorgeous window boxes with the candy tuft and marigolds and morning glory.
Now, here's what you do to get your 6 packets of seeds. Send 10 cents and either a Lux Toilet Soap wrapper or an opening tab from a box of Lux Flakes to Lux Flower Garden, Box 1, New York City, together with your name and address. You can get a handy order blank from your dealer if you wish. For additional seeds, be sure to enclose another dime and either another Lux Soap wrapper or another Lux Flakes opening tab for each extra set desired. Planting instructions are on the back of each packet. Act quickly, for you must allow 2 to 3 weeks for seeds to reach you, and this offer will not be good after May 31st. I'll repeat the address. Lux Flower Garden, Box 1, New York City. Be sure to wrap coins securely and write name and address plainly. No stamps, please. This offer is good only in the United States. Now, Mr. DeMille returns to the microphone.
In real life, Pierre Aumont is on the brink of another great adventure. We'll tell you about that after the play. Now here's the third act of Crossroads, starring Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont.
What I had told Dr. Tessier was true. It made no difference what David had done. I loved him. I loved him as David Talbot or as Jean Peltier. And I would have given anything to help him, no matter what it meant. Well, he must have known how I felt. That's why he decided that he must run away.
Lucienne! Lucienne, where are you?
In here, darling.
Lucienne.
Oh, David, aren't you ready yet? We're going to be late at the Duvals.
Yes, I know. Here, look, darling. I have a surprise for you. See?
David, our passport?
Yes, we are catching the morning plane at Le Bourget.
Well, is it Brazil? Have you been appointed?
Well, it isn't exactly official, but I think that privately you may address me as Monsieur l'Ambassadeur.
Oh, won't it be wonderful? And darling, just think, 2 whole weeks alone on shipboard. Oh, can't we go somewhere and celebrate? Do we have to go to that party?
You must, dear. I start to tell you, I just called Martin at the office. He's asked me to help him, and, well, he's done it for me so often that I couldn't refuse him.
Well, what can I tell Madame Duval? It's so late.
That's all right. You run along, and I'll join you there later. About 11?
All right.
And afterwards, we'll do every night spot in the town, from Ciro's to Maxim's. Hmm?
All right.
Look, darling, don't say anything about Brazil to Duval. We must be very surprised when he tells us.
Oh, David, I'll swoon.
Good. Now you run along.
Oh, I hate to go without you.
Do you? I shall miss you, too.
But it's only until 11.
Yes. Good night, dear.
Good night, David. I'll be waiting.
Hello?
Hello, Jean?
Who is this?
This is Saru. Now listen carefully, Jean, and please don't interrupt. I just want you to know that you are not catching that plane tomorrow. If you try, I shall have the police at Le Bourget to help change your plane.
Listen.
Don't interrupt. I want to see you tonight, Jean. Come to the Club Sirene at 10 o'clock with 1 million francs. And if you don't, I'm afraid you'll find yourself behind bars in the morning. I warned you I might grow impatient. Good night, Jean.
Hello.
Hello.
Sit down, Jean. You're late.
I got here as soon as I could.
Did you bring the money?
I've been trying to get it. A man can't just go to his friends and ask them for 1 million francs.
Then you didn't bring the money?
No.
You have a very devoted wife. She has jewels.
How simple. Can I go to my wife and say, darling, I am a murderer. Please let me have 1 million francs?
I can. I can say just that. Madame, your husband's a murderer. Just a small loan. Would you mind? Oh, come now, please. There's no sense wasting any more time.
Saru, I want to get you the money. I'd do anything to have this nightmare off my neck. Believe me, it hasn't been easy for me. Sitting up there in my office, handling large sums for the government.
Oh, yes. Michel, he handles large sums of money for the government. Go on, Jean.
But that money isn't mine. That's a trust from the Republic.
Oh, please, no vulgar appeals to our patriotism.
No, this is business.
But don't you see that they'd know in a minute the safe is in my office? I'm the only one who has a key.
Jean, you've forgotten a lot of things you used to know very well.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, come now. A man goes to his own office where he has a perfect right to be. While he's opening the safe, he's attacked, bound and gagged. The next morning, he's found by the charwoman. The safe has been rifled, but you're completely innocent. You go back to your own life, your career, your wife, Brazil.
What guarantee have I that this is the end?
We'll disappear. You'll never hear of us again.
What about the picture, the locket?
You can have that just as soon as we get the money.
Shall we leave now for your office?
Yes, I'm ready.
11 o'clock came, and David had still not arrived at the Duvals. At 12, I left the house. I called a cab and drove to his office. Just as the car pulled up to the curb, I saw David entering the building. There were 2 people with him, Saru and Michel Alain. I paid the driver and waited for a moment, undecided. Then I went into the building. The night watchman was there, but he recognized me and led me up the stairs to David's office. When I got there, it was pitch black. but I saw a light flash near the safe. There they were, the three of them. The safe open, money on the floor. I stood there hardly breathing, and then, without even knowing what I did, I cried out to him, David!
Who is it? Michelle, hold the light. It's a woman.
David. No, David, don't do it. Please don't,
There's
David.
nothing else to do.
Oh, but there must be. You're frightened now, I know you are, but I'll be with you. We'll face it together.
But can't you see there's no other way?
Well, I won't let you do it. I'll tell the police.
Oh, no. No, I leave here with the money or I'll call the police. You can be the judge, madame.
Lucien, why do you suppose I'm doing this? Would you prefer to see me on the guillotine?
Well, what do you want me to do?
Help us tie him up. Then you find him robbed, gagged, tied in a chair. The perfect alibi. You give us a chance to get out of here and you can scream as loud as you like. All right?
Yes,
But remember, Wait. Did you hear something?
No.
I did. Saru, there's someone in the outer office. I saw a shadow.
Get the money out this way.
the police!
The police, Michelle, quick.
Don't move. Don't move or we'll shoot.
The back way, hurry.
The shot had gone wild, but Saru stood frozen in his tracks. The building was surrounded, and there was no escape. They took us to the office of the commissaire of police.
Madame Talbot, I hesitate to enter your name in the police book. All France knows your family.
Monsieur, my wife has nothing to do with this. She came to my office tonight quite by accident.
So you have said, monsieur. Now, Michelle Alain, that is your true name, mademoiselle?
Yes.
Tell me, do you recognize these two men and this lady? Come now, come. You were a witness at the Leduc trial where Henri Saru presented the evidence which proved that this gentleman was not a criminal named Jean Peltier.
Wait, please. There's no sense going on with this. I am Jean Peltier.
David!
What's that?
On March 27, 1922, I was involved in the robbery of a bank messenger.
Oh, don't listen to him.
I was also involved in his murder.
It isn't true. David, you don't know what you're saying.
I do, Lucien.
Monsieur, you must ignore my husband's statement. It was brought out at the trial that he has amnesia. He can't remember anything that happened before waking up in that hospital. And this murder was the morning before the Paris-Marseille train was wrecked.
Is this true, monsieur?
Yes.
Then how do you know you were involved in this robbery and murder?
I was told.
By whom?
By my accomplice in the crime, Henri Saru.
No, wait,
I can't go on knowing that I helped to murder a man, Saru. I can't live with it any longer. Ever since you told me, I've been tortured by the thought.
No, listen to me.
Saru, I beg. And you too, Michel. Let's confess everything and throw ourselves on the mercy of the state.
What?
Mademoiselle Alain was connected with the crime?
Yes. At that time, monsieur, she and I were, well, we were more than just friends, as you can see from this locket. May I have it, please, Michel? It was she who drove me to the station after the murder.
No, I never saw this man. Not until the day I testified in court.
Shut up.
Henri, this is murder. You want to go to the guillotine?
We have nothing to do with murder. I'll do the talking.
You've talked too much already. That's why we're here. The perfect blackmail crime. It couldn't fail, you said.
Shut up, you fool.
I won't shut up. Well, he's not Jean Peltier. Peltier was killed in the wreck of the Paris-Marseille Express.
David.
Go on.
Saru and Leduc went to the hospital after the wreck. They found Peltier among the dead. While they were there, they also learned that one of the survivors, Monsieur Talbot, was suffering from amnesia.
And you waited all these years to blackmail me?
He waited until you had something to lose. He planned everything, even that picture in the locket. It's a fake, a superimposure.
Well, Monsieur Talbot, I think we've heard all we need to hear. Henri Saru, Michel Alain, I hereby order you to stand trial and decree that you be remanded to prison until such time as you are tried by the state.
But it was his idea, I tell you. Saru!
Come along.
You hysterical fool.
Hysterical? Just wait till you hear me at the trial.
Well, Monsieur Talbot, you certainly took a desperate chance.
Oh, not really, monsieur. I knew I wasn't Peltier.
David, I don't understand. Was it you who called the police?
Of course, darling.
But if you knew you weren't Peltier...
I didn't know it until tonight. When you left me at home, I felt it was the end of the world. After Saru called, I stood looking at our passport pictures, remembering. And then something reminded me of this picture in the locket.
But they weren't the same?
Well, for all practical purposes, yes. But do you remember once, just after we were married, André Tessier was at the house. We were talking about why I combed my hair on the right side.
Well, yes, I remember. Tessier said when you came to the hospital it was combed on the left, but your head had been cut right along the part. And to cover the scar, you had to change the part to the right side.
Yes. Now look, darling.
This picture in the locket is supposed to have been taken before the accident. Look at it carefully, dear. What's wrong with it?
Oh, of course. The part's on the right side.
Exactly.
Well, then you knew that this picture must have been taken after the accident. Oh, darling, you're wonderful.
When you phoned me tonight and told me to send the police, I thought you'd got out of your mind.
Oh, setting the trap was easy enough. The problem was how to get Saru into it.
Well, how did you do it, David?
By two simple little words. Government funds. It took the bait at one gulp.
Oh, my David. If you handle the Brazilian embassy as well as you've handled this, I'll be very proud of you.
In here, madame.
Let me go. Let me go. What's the meaning of this? Oh, it's you, monsieur.
Good evening, Mother.
We've had this woman investigated. She is an actress permanently out of work. Friend of Saru's, of course.
Why have they brought me here? Monsieur, tell them they shouldn't disturb an old woman in the middle of the night.
Mother, I'm afraid you are a dead pigeon.
I don't understand. All I ask is my solitude.
That's what you're going to get, madame. 10 years of it. Take her out.
Come along, madame.
Let me go. Let me go.
Lucien.
Oh, David.
Did I tell you today that I love you?
Well, David, remember where we are.
But, darling, how can I? I have amnesia.
The curtain falls on Crossroads, and we are very glad that the paths of Lana Turner and Pierre Aumont crossed at this microphone tonight.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille. Well, how do you like the Lux Radio Theater, Pierre?
Wonderful, Lana. Now I'll go home and see what my father says.
Oh, is he your severest critic?
Well, you see, my father was a picture producer when we lived in France, and I think he was listening tonight.
Oh, well, you're the first producer's son I know who took up acting.
No, he's in the right end of the business. Let me know what your father thinks of our production, Pierre.
I will, sir. And I'd like to thank you now for the welcome you have given me here. You really were very, very kind to me.
Oh, that is nothing unusual, Pierre.
You don't think Lana Turner is unusual?
How did I get into this? I think she's beautiful.
She is more than that. She is magnifique.
Well, you got me there.
Oh, you're just saying that because I use Lux soap. I wonder if every girl knows that Lux soap is a grand way to care for her complexion.
You're living proof of that, Lana. Now I must tell our audience that Pierre Aumont will not be with us in Hollywood very much longer. After he finishes his next picture, he leaves Hollywood to join his countrymen at the front. Those comrades of his and ours who are fighting for the cause of the United Nations. We wish you all the luck in the world, Pierre.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. What is your play next week, Mr. DeMille?
Well, I have a telegram here that tells the whole story. It reads, "Accept with pleasure invitation for clam bake and corn roast in Lux Radio Theater next Monday night. In view of mileage rationing, please send Camel to pick us up en road to Paramount." And it's signed Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. And the play, ladies and gentlemen, well, what else could it be but The Road to Morocco? Bing Crosby and Bob Hope will bring us their greatest co-starring screen success next week. And with them, we'll present Ginny Sims.
Well, I know what I'll be doing next Monday. The same thing as this whole audience. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Lana. Au revoir, Pierre. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Bing Crosby and Bob Hope and Ginny Sims in The Road to Morocco. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Heard in tonight's play were Bradley Page as Carew, Paula Winslow as Michelle, and Norman Field, Regina Wallace, Victor Rodman, Cliff Clark, Leo Cleary, Charlie Lung, Fred Mackay, and Ferdinand Mounier. Our Lux Radio Theater production of Crossroads has come to you with the good wishes of the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, the beauty care that 9 out of 10 Hollywood stars use to help keep their complexions beautifully clear and smooth. Our music was directed by Louis Silvers, and this is your announcer, John M. Kennedy, reminding you to tune in next Monday night to hear Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and Ginny Sims in The Road to Morocco.
Why should food rationing and shortages worry me? I know how to get vitamins and minerals for my family. I just buy Vims and add them to my rationed meals.
A great idea. For Vims give you all the essential vitamins and all minerals commonly lacking. They're pleasant to take, too. Children love them. Ask for Vims at your druggist. VI for vitamins, double MS for minerals. Vims. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense. Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Miss Lana Turner in The Flame Blue Glove, a transcribed suspense play produced and edited by William Spears.
Now, let's see. Are we going to put the tree over there again?
Uh-huh. And we'll have Santa Claus hang presents for Uncle John, Cousin Joey.
Oh, I'm going to ask Santa Claus to fill their stockings with Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Look, honey, you're home. This is me, your wife. You can get away from business.
Business? It's a pleasure to give such a Christmas present.
But, Hollow, Christmas is a time for sentiment.
Sentiment, sure. Why, John and Joy will love us, because Autolite resistor spark plugs will make their cars idle smoother and give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas.
Oh, my goodness.
Ohm is the secret, all right. That exclusive built-in 10,000 ohm Autolite resistor. Only Autolite resistor spark plugs have it.
What a life.
Now you're talking. Autolite resistor spark plugs have 200% longer electrode life. Cut down spark plug interference with radio and television, too. Why, Uncle John and Cousin Joy will say, just as I do, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with The Flame Blue Glove, and with the performance of Lana Turner, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
The trouble is, you never had any feelings, Dutch. You don't know what it is to feel, not like other people feel. You've spent too much time looking out at the world through dirty windows. I never liked working for your detective agency. I never liked you, Dutch. I never liked you at all. This is my last case. And this is my last report. You'll have to train someone else to go out and get tangled up in other people's lives. I thought I was through working for you when I married Jimmy Conway. But I was wrong. You showed up again last week. I was working in my garden. Even above the smell of the roses, I could smell trouble.
Hello, Shadow.
What? Dutch! Where did you come from?
Just in the neighborhood. Here, give me those things.
What do you know about a rose bush?
I know this one's got thrips. Trim it, use nicotine spray for a week or 10 days, clear it up just like that.
Death, taxes, and Dutch. You know everything. You haven't changed a bit. Same pipe, same awful tobacco. How's the detective business?
I miss you, Shadow. You were the best operative I ever had.
Oh, I'm flattered, Dutch.
This gilded cage stuff okay? Gardens, clothes, car, time on your hands. You really like it?
What do you think? Would you rather be a lady detective if you were me?
Maybe. I don't know. You wouldn't be interested in working on a case, would you?
I am now a happily married bride working on keeping her handsome husband. Besides, my license expired.
Could fix that. This one's right up your alley, Shadow. You did the groundwork when you were with me.
Sorry.
I know the case was closed, but it's been nagging me. I still think it was murder.
What case are you talking about?
The Conway case. Mrs. Conway.
I looked at you. You weren't kidding, but you were smiling. And you only smile when something might go wrong for somebody.
Yeah, I still believe your husband killed his first wife. Hate me?
Who hired you?
Nobody, just nagged by the fact, Shadow. Eloise Conway, wealthy wife of not-so-wealthy Jim Conway, drinks 10 dissolved sleeping tablets New Year's Eve. Coroner's jury says suicide. I just can't buy it.
The police accepted the coroner's verdict.
That day at the coroner's inquest, you disappointed me, Shadow, refusing to go on the stand. You'd been tailing him for 2 months. You could have told about his 3 lady friends.
Telling those things to a coroner's jury wouldn't have helped one way or the other. Jimmy's clean and decent, Dutch.
He would have been arrested on suspicion of murder if you'd spoken up.
Those girls meant nothing to him. They were just friends.
Maybe, and he might have fed her those pills so he could have one of those friends.
Then why did he marry me instead of whoever it was?
You saved his hide, Pigeon. You didn't tell the coroner about his friends. Maybe he married you to play it safe. For a while, maybe...
Jimmy had nothing to do with Eloise's death.
You know, I keep thinking what she said when she hired us. How did she put it? Yeah. Jimmy married me for my money. He was in love with somebody else. As soon as he thought it was safe, he went back to her.
Went back to who? Who do you mean?
Want to work on the case with me?
No. No, I don't.
Shadow, did you ever stop to think what might happen to you if he isn't innocent? If you let some little suspicion slip out somewhere and he gets it into his head that... Doesn't it ever scare you?
Oh, Jimmy, you're home early.
No, please, keep playing. Did I ever tell you I love you?
You wouldn't if you knew how really bad I am. But I love you.
Well, you certainly know how bad I am. I'll bet there isn't a husband in the country married to the girl who tailed him all over town before she...
Please, Jimmy.
Oh. I'm sorry. We've kidded about this before.
It's just that I've had a bad day, that's all. My fault.
Oh, you're trembling. Oh, poor darling. Sarah.
Yes, Jimmy?
Maybe you stay around this house too much. Or maybe it's around you too much.
What do you mean?
After all that's happened here. This is where Eloise died. I just thought maybe it gives you the creeps to live here. We can sell it, darling. Get another place.
Oh, no, Jimmy. This is our house now. I never was really jealous of Eloise.
Well, there's nobody else.
But, Jimmy, when Eloise did what she did, you had other friends.
Now, Sarah.
Were you in love with any of those girls? Kathy Dane. You used to sit around that nightclub listening to her sing. And Judy...
Sarah, I never loved anyone. Not Kathy, not Judy, not Eloise, anyone. Until I met you. You believe that, don't you, Sarah?
I want to, Jimmy. I want to so much. The next afternoon, walking down Hollywood Boulevard, I saw an ugly second-floor office, and there was an ugly sign to go with it. Dutch Detective Service. I came up to see you, Dutch, to tell you to drop it.
I won't drop it. They blow their heads off and take poison and jump off the buildings and chew sleeping tablets. But they don't go around hiring detectives to watch their husbands before they do it. Eloise Conway was bumped, and I'm going to find out about it.
You're not going to pin it on Jimmy. He didn't have anything to do with it.
If he didn't, one of his little friends did. Look, these old reports of yours include the names of 3 dames he went out with while you were tailing him.
Yes, that's right.
A torch singer named Kathy Dane, his private secretary Millicent Taylor, and a Miss $1 Million named Judy Fleetwood.
And what about them? Look, Dutch, I asked Jimmy about those girls last night. They didn't mean anything to him. A woman knows her husband.
Yeah, well, I know a woman. And if they want a guy bad enough, they'll kill for him. And one of them left his glove on the floor of the bedroom the night our client passed away.
Oh, that old glove. The police weren't even interested in it as evidence.
Well, I am. The police didn't have any Cinderellas to fit it on because you didn't mention Jimmy's girlfriends at the inquest. Which one of them does it fit, Shadow?
Size 6.5, commonest size in the world. Fit anybody. Look, even fits me, Dutch.
Well, the color's a little unusual. You'll grant me that?
Flame blue? Yes, I guess so.
All right. If we find the partner to this glove, we've got something. You going to help?
I can't.
All right. There's other female ops in this burg. I kind of thought you'd like to do it. You know, see that your husband's handled fair, square, no frames or anything like that.
Oh, all right, Dutch. I'll give it a whirl.
Good.
But in a week you'll come to me and tell me I was right. That Jimmy's innocent.
Oh, I'm sure I will, Shadow. I'm sure I will.
Autolite is bringing you Miss Lana Turner in The Flame Blue Glove. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Harlow,
If you're through rhapsodizing about Autolite resistor spark plugs, I'd like to plan out the rest of our Christmas.
Oh, sure, of course.
Now, I've asked Aunt Helen to drive over for the day.
Aunt Helen, I haven't seen her for a long time. Wonder if she's got Autolite resistor spark plugs in her car.
Everybody else is dreaming of a white Christmas. Not my husband, Harlow. He's dreaming of an Autolite Christmas.
I'll tell Aunt Helen that with Autolite resistor spark plugs, her car will idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save her gas.
Look, my super salesman.
I'll tell her that Autolite resistor spark plugs never worry radio and television reception, that they have 200% longer electrode life.
Yeah, I know. What a Christmas party we'll have.
I'll bet Aunt Helen
This is Chesterton Radio, your home for podcasts that works by G.K. Chesterton.
Then I suppose you'll tell her to get a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs at her dealer's?
Oh, no, I'll have a set on the tree for her. Or maybe she'd prefer the famous regular type Autolite spark plugs, long recognized for their dependability. Well, anyway, it's a present you can't go wrong with, because you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage our star Lana Turner in The Flame Blue Glove, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
May I help you, please?
I want to buy some gloves, a size 6.5.
Certainly. Any particular shade in mind?
Yes, blue.
Blue? Yes, of course. Here's a lovely shade, hand-stitched.
I was thinking of, well, more of a flame blue.
Flame blue. Oh, I'm afraid... Oh, I do happen to have a pair. 6.5?
Yes.
Here you are. What about these?
Yes, that's the pair. Exactly what I want. Oh, don't wrap them. I'll wear them.
Lovely for cocktails.
Yes, that's what I'm going to use them for. Yes, I'm Mrs. Wingate. Oh, won't you sit down, please, Miss Dane? I've always admired your singing so much. I've always been a fan of yours. Kathy Dane records are favorites with all my friends. Oh, I took the liberty of ordering martinis.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Wingate. I don't go on here for another half hour.
Oh, I didn't come to hear you sing this time, Miss Dane. I came to ask you a favor.
Oh?
I want you to sing at a party I'm giving next month at my Bel Air home.
Well, I'm flattered, but I'm afraid I couldn't possibly accept any private engagements.
Oh, I wish you'd reconsider. It's such a special occasion for a very dear friend who's spoken of you.
Oh, who?
Jimmy Conway.
Jimmy?
Yes, he's my neighbor. You know, he's been through so much in the last year with Eloise's death and everything. I felt this party might...
You know Jimmy's wife?
Yes, I've met Sarah. She's very nice.
I'm glad. For Jimmy.
I know I talk too much, but since I've met you, I can't help wondering why you and Jimmy...
It's really quite simple, Mrs. Wingate. I'm a singer. I need backing. Jimmy couldn't help me then. He had the money he inherited when his... Well, anyway, by the time I got my backing, what's-her-name, Sarah, had come between us. I never met her, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. Did any get on you?
No, but I'm afraid those beautiful gloves of yours are ruined. Oh, what a shame.
Well, I hope it won't take the color out. Flame blue is my favorite.
Mine, too, I guess. I had some gloves pretty much like those ones.
Oh, really?
I lost one of them.
Oh, really? Well, I've ruined one here. Perhaps we could make a pair between us. Which one did you lose?
Oh, I can tell by just looking at yours that you're too small. I wear a 7 3/4 glove. Have to have them made to order. My piano teacher used to call me ham hands. Sorry, I'm not your girl.
No, I'm afraid you're not. No, she wasn't, Dutch. I'd played the scene well. Smart. Oh, you'd have been proud of me, Dutch. It wasn't easy. Because I was playing with my own life, my happiness. But I did it just the way you taught me. And I gave you the report just the way you taught me. All facts, no emotion.
All right, Shadow, so it isn't Kathy Dane. But that glove fits somebody.
Dutch, I hate it. I'm shaking from it. Oh, Jimmy'll know I'm up to something. Look, drop the whole thing. I'll give you $15,000 I have in my checking account.
I want more than that.
Dutch, I won't let you break this up for me. Jimmy and I have too much.
You mean you're going to try hanging on to him and his money even if Eloise was murdered?
Stop it!
That make you feel better?
I'm sorry.
Okay. 1 down and 2 to go. A secretary and a grass widow. Who's first, Shadow?
I'm so tired, Dutch.
Sure, kid, sure. You need a good night's sleep. I'll drive you home. Oh, by the by, do you sleep good in that house?
Very well.
Just ask, Shadow. Just ask.
You drove me home. I don't know what I was thinking to let you do it. When we got there, we spent an hour sitting in the car while you gave me all the details about Millicent Taylor again. She'd been Jimmy's secretary for 4 years. She'd been out of town at the time of Eloise's death. You wanted to know where. We said goodnight finally. You drove off.
Evening, Sarah. Since one of the taxis been slipping up to the house without lights?
Oh, but Jimmy, didn't you get my message?
Sure, darling. You wouldn't be home for dinner. Why are you so nervous? Who'd you have dinner with?
Oh, Louise Gowans. You remember Louise. She just got in from Honolulu.
Oh, how is Lou?
Oh, fine. Fine, Jim. She asked about you.
Well?
What is it, darling?
Don't you kiss your husband when you get home?
Oh, of course. Well, what's the matter?
Are you smoking a new brand of cigarettes or something?
No,
Well, your hair's full of a tobacco smell I seem to remember from somewhere.
Oh, the cab driver was smoking a pipe.
Oh, I remember now. That man you used to work for. He smoked an awful tobacco that I couldn't...
It's just an old, cheap brand. So 2 people smoke it.
Yes, of course.
I was too clever for him, the way you taught me to be clever. And the next day, Dutch, I used everything you taught me. I had to. Because on my way back from Hollywood, I noticed that a gray coupe had turned with me off the boulevard. I noticed it because it looked exactly like my old car that I sold when I got married. And when it turned with me again at sunset and followed me out to Laurel, I knew that it was tailing me. Oh, I used what you taught me so well, Dutch. I timed traffic lights, dodged up narrow streets, and got away from him. I would have taken his license number and looked him up, Dutch, but I had other things to do first. Things like playing sick, playing a scene for my husband's secretary. Come in. Oh, Millicent. Millicent, it was so sweet of you to come. Sit over here by the bed.
Are you ill, Mrs. Conway?
Oh, migraine headaches. Unbearable sometimes.
Oh? Jane.
Oh, but I never let Jimmy know about them. Sick wives are such a nuisance to a man.
Yes, they certainly are.
I called you, Millicent, because I've been planning a surprise for Jim's birthday. A costume party.
And you want me to call it off? All right. What guests are coming?
No, I don't want to call it off. Jimmy needs relaxation. I wondered if you'd play hostess for me.
Me?
Hostess? Well, if the stupid headache persisted, it'd be a great favor to me, and I know Jim would like it. Say you will, please.
Really, Mrs. Conway,
please now.
Well, I haven't a costume. I don't know what...
Well, mine's in the closet. I got it from Hollywood costumers today. It would fit you.
Which one?
The colonial with the...
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, it's lovely, Mrs. Conway.
Oh, you'd look beautiful in it. I'd almost be afraid to let Jimmy see you wearing it.
Would you?
Now, the only thing it needs is some blue gloves. A flame blue, don't you think? Of course, they're rather difficult to find.
Well, that's no problem. I think I know...
Yes?
You're clever, aren't you, Mrs. Conway?
How do you mean?
You aren't like Eloise. Migraine headaches. She'd have called him away from work a couple of days to nurse her. She was that kind of wife.
You're very fond of my husband, aren't you, Millicent?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Are you in love with him?
Yes. Last winter it got so bad that I had to go to a sanitarium for a while.
Oh, you poor dear.
Everyone thought I was spending the holidays with my sister. When I came back, a lot of things had happened. Eloise had committed suicide,
and I was married to Jimmy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Here. But aren't you going to take the costume with you?
I've got a feeling you'll be up and around by party time. If there is a party. Oh, just in case you want to check it. On New Year's Eve, I was in Riverview Sanitarium, Mrs. Conway. Goodbye.
Just another secretary carrying a torch for a boss. Another bad lead, Dutch. You checked on it next morning.
Well, that's that, Shadow. Okay. But there's still the grass widow. She's smart.
Judy Fleetwood. Look, she was in Reno getting a divorce.
Plane service is good, and that glove might fit her.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're getting near the end, aren't we? You won't say uncle, will you, Dutch?
Nope.
I drove over to Encino to Judy Fleetwood's ranch, a big rambling place that sprawled over several acres, complete with stable, swimming pool, and pictures. The one above the mantel was an oil of Judy herself, but a modest photograph on the desk below was the real eye-catcher. It was Jimmy.
So you're Sarah Conway.
Yes.
Well, this is cozy. Sarah the winner. Judy the loser meet like two ladies and talk about the battle. What do you have?
Oh, nothing, thank you.
Oh, prim, too. Cheers, Toots. What are you doing here?
Well, I'd like to have you over for dinner. Say, tomorrow night?
I think that would be positively nostalgic. Want me to bring someone with me?
If you wish, yes.
Well, the guy across the road just left his wife. Shall I bring him along?
Well, anyone you want.
Yeah. You know what? I only wanted one guy, and you got him. Have a drink. This is quite an occasion, meeting you after seeing so much of you.
After seeing so much of me?
Sure. Last year, every time I was out with Jimmy, I'd see you lurking in the bushes somewhere. Where's your magnifying glass and bloodhounds?
I didn't like doing it, Miss Fleetwood. It was a job.
You made it pay off, honey. No, come off it. Tailing a man, getting the dope on his private life, then scaring him into marriage.
That's a lie.
It isn't? The night Eloise died, I went to see her.
You were with her the night she died?
That's what I said. And she told me she was more scared of you than any of us. So you're good, sister. You're real good. But you're not going to keep him. You hear me? It would have been me if you hadn't been.
Give it to me.
Dutch, Judy Fleetwood was there the night Eloise died. She told me so herself. That's how smart she is.
Good. Anything else?
Well, I didn't get a chance to find out about the glove. I got so mad.
I found the glove, Shadow.
What?
Yeah, the other flame blue glove.
Well, where'd you find it?
Where every dame, even the smartest one, can lose a glove when she's driving a car. Tucked down on the cushions.
Oh, I see.
Cost me a lot of time and money, Shadow, but I expect to get it back. Girl who owned that car got lots of money, loaded.
Well, what happens now?
We'll wind it up tonight, Shadow. You know that little house outside the gate to the Fleetwood dame's place?
Yes.
Meet you there at 9.
Oh, I have to hang up. Goodbye, Mr. Dameron.
Who are you talking with?
Oh, just a friend. Jimmy, do you think I'm lying?
2 nights ago, you were having dinner with Louise Gowans. She'd just come in from Hawaii?
Yes.
Louise called me at the office today. She tried to get you at home. She told me she just got in today from New York. Well, Sarah?
I hoped you wouldn't catch me, darling. Actually, I had to meet a man. Well, it was for your birthday. A surprise.
It's hard to keep up with you sometimes, Sarah. Who do we know drives a gray coupe? I know you once owned one, but
Well, I'm sure I don't know.
Coming home twice now, I've seen him sitting in it. Seemed to be interested in our house. Thought he might be your doctor.
My doctor? Oh, what are you talking about, Jimmy?
Migraine headaches, darling.
Oh. Millicent shouldn't have mentioned it. They're really nothing.
It's funny. Eloise used to have migraines. Here.
What are those?
Take 2 of these. Put you right to sleep. I don't want you to suffer anymore. You shouldn't take too many of these, of course.
Well, that's awfully sweet, Jimmy, but I feel perfectly fine.
Do as I say. Here, take them.
But Jimmy did. All right.
Now, go on up to bed. Sarah, I'm sorry I found out about my birthday surprise.
Yes, darling.
I'll have to plan a surprise for you someday, won't I?
I pawned the sleeping pills, of course. Another little trick you taught me. I waited in my room 20 minutes. I could hear Jimmy listening outside my door. Then I quietly dialed the operator and told her my phone seemed to be out of order and asked her to call me back. As soon as it rang and I heard Jimmy race to answer it downstairs, I was down the back stairs and out of the house. I was still 10 minutes early for our appointment at Judy Fleetwood's. I was quite calm. The night was dark, and I had my gun. I stood in the shadows and waited for you. I expected to hear your car first, but you fooled me, Dutch. I couldn't make out the shadow across the driveway, but I could smell the pipe smoke, and I fired. Dutch! Dutch!
All right, Shadow.
Oh!
Drop it.
Dutch!
I said drop it. You never did learn how to shoot a gun, did you, Shadow? But you learned everything else.
It's money you want, isn't it, Dutch?
What good would it do me, Shadow? I'd be asking for something like this every time I came around to collect from you. And you might learn to shoot straight after a while.
This is it, Dutch.
This is it, baby. I've got the glove in your old car, the make to the one you left in Eloise's room the night you fed her those pills. Even got you now on attempted murder.
Nothing much for me to say, is there?
Nope. That enough for you, Lieutenant?
Yes, it is. Sarah Oliver Conway, you're under arrest for the murder of Eloise Conway.
Jimmy came to see me today. He said you phoned him yesterday and told him I would attempt to kill you because you were closing in on me for Eloise's murder. Dutch, Jimmy gave me 2 sleeping pills after he talked to you. He was trying to keep me from doing anything until he could think of some way out of all this. But you wouldn't understand what that means to me, I guess. You never loved anybody, Dutch.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Lana Turner.
Well, Harlow, with all your talk about Autolite resistor spark plugs, I still love you.
Ah, you're a swell wife. 1 in a million. Just like Autolite, resistor spark plugs are one of more than 400 products made by Autolite for cars, trucks, planes, and boats in 28 plants coast to coast. These include complete electrical systems used as original equipment on many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, coils, distributors, starting motors, and bullseye sealed beam headlights. All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. So don't accept electrical parts supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite, original factory parts, at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite. Next Thursday, for Suspense, Eddie Cantor will be our star. The play is called Double Entry. And it is, as we say,
a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Tonight's transcribed suspense play was produced and edited by William Spear and directed by Norman MacDonald. Music for Suspense is composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Flame Blue Gloves, an original radio play by Lois Eby and John C. Fleming. Adapted for Suspense by E. Jack Newman. Lana Turner appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of Dore Sherry's Battleground, starring Van Johnson, John Hodiak, Ricardo Montalban, and George Murphy. For the second consecutive year, Lana Turner has been named the most popular star by the readers of Modern Screen magazine in its motion picture popularity poll. In the coming weeks, you will hear such stars as Ida Lupino, Danny Kaye, and Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. Don't forget, next Thursday, same time, Autolite will present Suspense, starring Eddie Cantor.
You can buy Autolite resistor or regular spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
Friends, once again, the Salvation Army is busy bringing new hope and cheer to many less fortunate than ourselves. Help where you can. Help the Salvation Army help others. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Presenting Lana Turner in Donut Girl on the Cavalcade of America, sponsored by E.I. DuPont, the Nemours and Company of Wilmington, Delaware, maker of better things for better living through chemistry.
This is your Cavalcade commentator, Walter Houston. Next Friday marks the beginning of America's 4th year at war. At this time, the future looks bright, but the war is not over yet. We still have long months of bitter fighting ahead, and the men in uniform, at the rare moments when they can, need to relax. This evening, our Cavalcade play deals with a branch of the American Red Cross, which helps these men to find relaxation. Donut Girl, written by Edith Sommer, is based upon factual material supplied by Annette Robbins, a Red Cross worker, recently returned from the South Pacific. Donut Girl is the personal record of Patricia Holland, the Chicago girl who found herself at a jungle air base somewhere in New Guinea. Pat Holland will be portrayed by the star of the Metro Goldwyn Mayer picture, Marriage is a Private Affair, a star who is one of Hollywood's brightest and loveliest, Lana Turner. It was almost 2 years ago when Pat Holland arrived in New Guinea, burdened with luggage and rosy illusions. Well, she's back home now, and yesterday she received a letter from a friend. A letter asking a question but the letter was addressed to Pat. And this is her story.
The letter full of exclamation points and dashes was from Florence. You see, Florence has just joined the Red Cross, and she wants to know how it is in New Guinea. She wants to know what working there is like. Well, it's a little hard to answer, but I can tell you what it was like for me. Of course, things are much different now. But when I came there 2 years ago, there were only 8 of us Red Cross gals, and now there are hundreds. Things were pretty rugged then, just getting organized. I didn't realize it, of course, and I stepped off the plane feeling like Lady Bountiful, with my feet in the mud and my head in the stars. I remember how I felt as the plane, with me as its only passenger, came in for a landing. And as the plane stopped on the airstrip...
Okay, come on out, lady, this way.
I'm Patricia Holland of the Red Cross.
Welcome to New Guinea, miss. Give me your luggage.
Well, that's it in a plane. Tell me.
Holy smoke. Hey, Joe, hold up a minute. I gotta get this junk out of here first.
Excuse me, but I don't seem to see... Is anybody from the Red Cross around?
Sorry.
Oh, but I'm Pat Holland, and...
Let's get her into the shed. Okay, Joe, wheel her around now.
Well, hasn't anybody asked about me?
Nope.
Oh, what do I do now?
Come on, Joe, swing her to the left. Swing her to the left.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't go away. Hey, soldier.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am?
Oh, Lieutenant, I'm Pat Holland with the Red Cross, and I've just flown from America, and... Well, what's the matter?
Are all those suitcases yours?
But they're only 5.
5, huh? Okay, come on. I'll drive you over to your headquarters.
Oh, with the Jeep. Oh, what fun. No, wait a minute. Don't help me. I can get in myself.
Okay, but aren't you forgetting something?
I am? What?
You're the Red Cross, aren't you?
Well, yes, of course.
And you came out here to work?
That's right.
Then how about toting your own luggage? Come on, it won't hurt you. They're only 5.
We're very glad to have you with us, Miss Holland. While you remain in this area, there are naturally several regulations you must follow. You must keep your head covered while under the sun, and you must keep your legs covered at all times.
I beg your pardon?
Mosquitoes.
Oh.
Of course, we expect you to do your full share of the work. The work's not easy, but then you knew that when you joined up. There are many things to be done. The clubmobiles to meet the flyers.
Well, after sitting for 3 hours at headquarters, the Red Cross director finally interviewed me. By then, I was beginning to feel that I was about as welcome as the Black Plague. And then I met Ann Pepperly. Ann was my supervisor and the first girl I met in New Guinea. I said to her, hello, I'm Pat.
Hello, Pat. How much do you weigh?
Why...
Ever scrub floors?
Well, no, but...
You will. Sandwiches?
Hmm?
Can you make sandwiches?
Oh, sure. You see, when
Fine, we need about 500 by 1300.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
What's the matter? You afraid of work?
No, I'm not afraid of work. Say, what's the matter with you people anyway? I come here all the way from America, and I don't know why, but I feel like I was a Jap or something. I land in the plane, and nobody meets me. I get to headquarters and sit in the broiling heat for 3 hours, and nobody talks to me. I'm tired, and I'm hot, and nobody cares. What are you running here anyway, a private war?
Peanut butter.
What?
Make those sandwiches with peanut butter.
Oh, all right. I will make them with peanut butter. All the sandwiches you want. And I'll scrub the floors and wash the windows and make the beds and clean the kitchen and I'll do all these things. But there's one thing I won't do.
What's that?
Well, everybody's got to clean his own bathtub ring.
Ha, what bathtub?
I ran out the door, only there wasn't any door because the headquarters building was just a thatched hut. And I pushed along the jungle path toward the barracks. My heart was so heavy and my eyes were full of tears, and I was mad and I was lonely, and then it happened.
Man, ain't that new girl pretty?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thanks. Thank you. The day settled down to a routine then. A routine of work and sweat. It wasn't bad, though. It really wasn't. The cold reception I received on my arrival wasn't directed at me personally. They didn't resent me. You see, for Red Cross gals, the ticket of admission to the theater of war is work. And at first it looked like I was trying to get in on a free pass. There were so few of us there. Only 8 and so much to be done. So much. Well, anyway, for the first few weeks I spent my time being the maid of all works. That is, until the day I was in the Red Cross Club stacking donuts for the clubmobile with the rest of the girls when the telephone rang.
Answer, Pat, will you?
Okay, sure. Hello, Pat Holland here.
This is Lieutenant Crilly. Flight of B-25 bombers returning from strike. All planes accounted for. ETA 1500.
Okay, Lieutenant, that's swell. Somebody will be there.
Right.
Hey, Ann, the heavies are returning from the mission. They'll be in at 3 o'clock.
Okay, you ready, Pat?
Oh, sure. The donuts are stacked and the juice is in the wagon.
No, I mean you. Are you set?
Me? What for?
Oh, didn't I tell you you're going with me today?
You mean in the clubmobile? Out to meet the flyers?
That's right.
Oh, but...
What's the matter? Don't you want to go?
Want to? Oh, my gosh, sure. Yes, of course, but...
But what?
I left my lipstick in the barracks.
You know, I've been meaning to tell you, Pat. All the rest of us, well, we think you've done a good job, and...
Thanks, Ann.
It's been pretty tough, I know. But you see, the 7 of us came out for the Red Cross, and we were the first to come to New Guinea. And then when you came...
I was an intruder, huh?
Not exactly, but we had to be sure you were willing to work as hard as the rest of us.
Listen, Ann. Our planes. Come on, let's go.
No, wait a minute. No, those aren't the bombers.
Huh?
Those aren't bombers. Fighters, 175th probably.
But how do you know?
Oh, after a while you'll get so you can tell every plane in the Air Force just by the sound of its motor. Where are the donuts?
Oh, right here. I'd pile them all up.
Better get them out to the clubmobile. Oh, and the coffee. Come on, Pat. It takes about 10 minutes to get to the airstrip, and our boys will be along any minute now. Well, honey, don't just stand there. Let's go.
Wait a minute, Ann.
What's the matter, for heaven's sake?
Well, I don't know exactly.
Look, Pat, for weeks you've been waiting for the time you'd go on the clubmobile shift. Well, now you're going instead of...
I know that. That's what I mean. You see, ever since I joined the Red Cross, I kept thinking about when I'd meet the missions. I'd think of sweating it out with the ground crews, waiting for the planes to come in. And I'd think about how I'd talk to the pilots and, you know, laugh with them. Things like that. But now
But now what?
I'm scared.
Come on, Pat. Let's get the stuff in the clubmobile.
Okay, then. Here we go. Oh, gosh, Ann. No kidding. I've been waiting for this ever since I got here. I thought See, what's the matter with this thing anyway? Does it take long to get to the strip?
How about 10 minutes?
Well, it won't take us that long. Ann, the battery's dead. The battery's dead.
But it can't be. Pat. Try turning on the ignition.
Oh, Ann.
Oh, forget it, honey. You're just excited.
Oh, well, this time we're really off. We went backwards.
So we did. This time, instead of reverse, put it in first, Pat.
Yeah, maybe it would help. Well, okay, Ann. This time I guarantee we're really off.
Well, we made it, Pat. Everything set?
Already. Coffee, fruit juice, donuts. Oh, but why don't they come?
They'll come.
Listen, Ann, what'll I say?
You've had dates, haven't you?
Oh, sure, for heaven's sake, but this is...
the same thing. These are just boys, Pat. 20, 21 years old, most of them. Just talk to them. Joke with them. Help them to relax so they can be interrogated by air intelligence.
What's that for?
Well, intelligence officers question the crew so they can learn of possible enemy losses, new tactics, new equipment, things like that. Happens after every mission. That's our job, see? To get the boys to relax so they can talk.
Oh, I wish they'd come. Say, you don't
Hello,
think...
Well, hi, Bill. Pat, this is Bill Anders, chief of the ground crew for the Grease Lightning.
Hi, Pat.
Hello. Ground crew for the what?
The Grease Lightning. Ain't you ever heard of it? That's the best blasted fort in the whole Air Force. You knew, huh?
This is the first time Pat sweated out a strike.
Oh. Well, take it easy, kid. This is the toughest part.
They're a little late, aren't they?
Yeah, we just got a report that one of them got it over the target.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Tough.
Which one?
I don't know. Just hope it wasn't my boys. That's all. Just hope it wasn't my guys.
Oh, it couldn't be Bill. Not with Rip Ware, the skipper.
Yeah, that's the way I figure. Yeah, Ollie's over there sick on a dog. He's sure it's his gang. Had a premonition last night, Ollie did. Kept me awake all night with it.
That's Russ's ship.
Yeah, Ollie's sure they got it. Last night he dreamed he seen him go down. He's feeling bad, real bad. Well, I'll see you later, Ann.
All right, Bill. Bill, if you hear anything more, let me know, will you?
Oh, yeah, sure I will, Ann. See, they're sure all late, aren't they?
Listen, Ann. And does it happen often?
Planes going down?
Yeah.
Yes, Pat, it does.
But how can you stand it?
Well, sometimes you can't. This is the worst. Not knowing which one. Not knowing who. You see, Pat, sometimes there's a special boy.
I know, Ann. Mary told me about it.
It was right out here on the strip, just like now. All the planes came in. Only his didn't. We were going to be married.
Look, Pat, they're coming. Where?
Over there, see? Hey, Bill, they're coming. Turn on the Victrola, Pat. What? The Victrola, turn it on. Okay.
Come on, Ann, we better get the coffee and juice ready and get out the donuts. Hurry up, Ann. They're coming in. The boys are coming in.
Listening to Lana Turner and Donut Girl on the Cavalcade of America, brought to you by the DuPont Company, maker of better things for better living through chemistry. When Red Cross recreation worker Pat Holland first landed in New Guinea to serve the 5th Air Force, she felt like Florence Nightingale and Bob Hope and Hedy Lamarr all rolled into one. But weeks of scrubbing floors and making sandwiches have helped prepare her for the greatest heartache of them all, waiting on the airstrip for the men to return from a combat mission.
You've heard about Rip Ware, I guess. Everybody has. Well, I met Rip while I was in New Guinea. That first day I was out on the airstrip in a clubmobile. His was the first plane in. I remember it was my first plane, and I was nervous and scared, and I couldn't seem to talk to the boys at all, and, well, the boys just talked to each other about their mission.
Hey, listen, I had that zero right in my sights when Johnny my machine gun didn't go and get a frog in his throat. Yeah, I remember that, was. Tony, because my gun jams at the same time.
Hey, Annie, how about some more bug juice?
Yeah, come on, Annie, fill it up, will you?
Okay, I'm coming. How about you, Jim?
Yeah, sure. Listen, man, 2 zeros are coming from the left, see? So I yelled to Tony, I tell him to climb upstairs, boy, climb up.
And that was when I met Rip Ware. I was standing there feeling pretty useless and out of things when...
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Rip Ware.
And I'm...
I know, you're scared. You needn't be.
Well, it's just that I can't seem to get started.
I know, it's my boys. They're shy, see? Besides, they're pretty hopped up right now. We kind of had a rough time of it. As soon as they get to know you, it'll be all right. Besides, you're too pretty. They can't ignore you for long. Where are you from?
Chicago. See, thanks, Rip.
That's okay. What's your name?
Pat.
Pat, huh?
Uh-huh.
You remind me of Emily.
Emily?
Yeah, my wife.
Oh.
I haven't seen her in 3 years. Hey, you guys, where's your manners? Jim, Tony, Fred, this is Pat, a new G.I. Junior come to brighten up the war. Well, come on, speak up.
Hiya, Pat.
How are you, Pat? Hey, Tony, Pat's from your hometown.
Yeah? No kidding. Say, how's Chicago making out?
Exactly the same, Tony. The drake's next to the lake, and the weather's next to impossible.
Gee, Pat, remember Randolph Street?
Sure.
Ah, boy, that street has memories for me.
I remember one day I was walking past Marshall Fields. A girl come up to me. She said, right out. She said, hey.
It wasn't spectacular what Rip did. Oh, but it meant so much. He made me accepted, one of the gang. Funny how important that is, to have boys, mere babies, some of them, accept you as an equal. But then you remember that these aren't just kids. They're men. Brave men who face death casually every day. I was traveling in pretty honored company, and it was a swell feeling. Oh, one other thing happened that day. As the bombers came in one by one, Bill, Rip's ground crew sergeant, came running up to us and...
Hey, Pat, listen, I was wrong. Wrong?
Wrong about what?
Yeah, we didn't lose the plane. They're all in. See, here comes the last one now. All the planes is in.
Oh, Bill, that's wonderful.
Oh, boy, I'll say it is. Listen, when Russ's plane rolled down the strip, his ground crew was so happy they cried like babies. But they were so afraid about Ollie's premonitions. Yeah, but when they saw that plane, no kidding, they just cried, all of them. All except Ollie. He was so happy he got sick. Hey, put on another record, somebody. Come on, the party's just starting.
How about the one of the new ones Rip just brought back from Australia?
Yeah, the one about the pair of shoes, Annie.
Right, here it is. Shoo, shoo, baby.
Come on, Ann, let's dance this one out.
Okay, Bill, you talked me into it.
You want to dance, Pat?
Oh, sure, Rip, I'd love to.
Would you rather see a picture of my son?
Oh, Rip, did it come?
Yep, I got it in the mail this morning. Hey, come on out here, Pat. Here, get over by the light. There it is.
Oh, Rip, he's a fine boy. How old is he?
3. Some kid, huh?
Yeah, he looks just like his dad.
Yeah. Emily keeps writing he acts like me, too. He says he's got a lopsided grin. See, you can see it in the picture. It's blurred a little. I guess he moved. But if you look closer...
Oh, yes. Yes, I see it. Oh, gee, he's darling.
Yeah. Emily says he laughs like me. And he won't eat his eggs.
Won't eat his eggs?
Nope, can't stand them. But when I get home, Oh, no, I guess I won't. I don't like eggs either. Oh, gosh, Pat.
I know.
You know, I never seen him. Little guy was born just 4 days after I was shipped overseas. But he knows me. Emily's taking care of that. She had a little picture made from a big one she had, and my boy, no kidding, he wears it pinned to his jacket like it was a medal or something. And Emily says that whenever he meets somebody, he points to my picture and says, "Hey, you, that's my daddy." Want to go back and dance, Pat?
I'd love to. Oh, gee whiz.
Huh? What are you laughing at?
Me. I never thought of it before, but, well, if I ever have a little girl of my own, I sure hope a little guy like yours has her telephone number. It wasn't that I was in love with Rip. That would be too simple. But I loved him. We all loved him. I don't know why. He was just a dumb-looking 23-year-old kid from Kansas City who had a wife he adored and a baby son he'd never seen. And yet, there was something, I don't know, special about him. Every man in the squadron felt it. They worshipped him. Or they'd have followed him if he had led them into a battle where the odds were 100 to 1 against them. Maybe there's an easier way of saying this. Maybe if I said that when Rip walked into a room, suddenly your heart wouldn't weigh a thing. You'd know what I mean. Well, anyway, that's the way it was. And that's what made that day so unreal, so unbelievable. I was in the Red Cross hut mixing fruit juice. But this time I was alone. Anne was over at the barracks. She and I had been told to stand by to meet a special mission due in any minute. So a couple of others had gone out to take care of our own boys. I was working at the table when I looked up and...
Come here a minute, will you?
It was Bill, the ground crew sergeant. I walked over to the door and...
I don't believe it for a minute, so it's all right. But this report, see,
What
they came
report?
in, they say it's verified. Oh, they got jerks working up in communications. How do they know it's verified?
What?
I don't believe them, Pat. Them happy Charlies is fighting a dream war. I don't pay no attention to them.
What's happened, Bill?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's just that... Look, I don't believe it for a minute,
You don't
Pat.
believe what?
Not for a minute, but they say that
They say what?
Rick got it over target. Like I say, them communications Joes is dreaming. Half the time they shoot out these fancy reports that don't...
Are the bombers in yet, Bill?
Yeah, but they don't make no...
All of them in, Bill.
No. Rip's plane ain't. My plane ain't. Listen, Pat, I gotta go now and tell the other guys not to believe it. See, they're gonna get the report now. I gotta tell them not to believe it.
Bill! Bill, wait a minute. Bill! But he'd gone. I wanted to run after him. I wanted to run and yell and I wanted to cry. Hello?
Lieutenant Crilly here.
Yes, Lieutenant.
A squadron of replacement bombers coming in. Full complement of planes and men, so you better have a flock of sandwiches and coffee on hand. Estimated time of arrival, 0900. Okay? Hey, did you get it?
0900. Sure, I got it, Lieutenant. That's swell. We'll be there. Well, that's the way I learned the main thing war teaches. That things don't happen to other people anymore. They happen to you. Of course, you learn other things, too. You learn about words like faith and hope. Words like that. It's funny, but they come to life for you when you're mixed up with a war. And they work for you. I've seen it happen. Again and again I've seen it happen. And maybe the official report does list Rip as missing in action, presumed to be dead. All right, maybe he is. But a whole squadron of men in New Guinea, a girl and a little boy in Kansas City, and I, we don't believe it. We know that somewhere Rip Guerre is alive. Well, that's about all there is to it. I stayed on in New Guinea until about 3 months ago, when my mother became seriously ill and the Red Cross rushed me back to the States. Mother's fine now, so of course I...
Why, Pat, child, what are you doing? You'll be late.
What? Oh no, I won't, Mother. I was just sitting here thinking. I was going to write Florence a letter.
Oh, honey, I wouldn't do that now. You'll miss the train.
It'll only take a minute, Mother. See? Look. Dearest Florence, just received your letter, and I'm thrilled to death you're going to be a clubmobile girl for the Red Cross. The rest of your letter I'll have to answer on board ship. You see, I'm leaving tonight for New Guinea. I'm going back with a new group of Red Cross workers. Meanwhile, lots of luck to you. Love, Pat. Oh, P.S. I just had a hunch. Be looking for you on the ship.
Thanks to you, Lana Turner, and to all other members of tonight's DuPont Cavalcade. Smoke shells are typical of many different DuPont products that have saved and will continue to save the lives of many Army and Navy men. By means of colored smoke candles and colored smoke shells that send up clouds of red, orange, yellow, green, and violet smoke, lives are saved by identifying our ground forces so that our supporting planes and artillery can distinguish them from the enemy. Since most of these products are made at Deepwater, New Jersey, the DuPont plant there might be called the plant that saves lives. Gane Whitman can tell you about some of the other interesting things they're doing at this plant.
Well, Walter, for one thing, they're making neoprene, DuPont's synthetic rubber for life rafts and life-saving suits. Neoprene rubber, made at the Deepwater plant, also goes into flame-resistant jackets for electric cables on shipboard, de-icers for airplane wings and radio balloons, used by flyers forced down at sea. Freon refrigerants, manufactured by DuPont at Deepwater, play an important part in a malaria control method that is saving many lives in the tropics. That's because Freon, expanding rapidly when the valve on a small dispenser is opened, carries insecticide into the farthest corners of a tent or room in a few seconds. If a soldier does get malaria, Army doctors treat him with antabrine, one ingredient of which is manufactured at the Deepwater plant. And in a sense, camphor made there saves lives, too, because camphor is used in manufacturing the moving picture films that train our crack-shot aerial gunners to shoot first and shoot better. The plant that saves lives is known officially at DuPont as the Chambers Works, in honor of Dr. Arthur D. Chambers, who contributed much to its early development. But in peacetime, this 500-acre plant with 750 buildings and 9,000 employees has still another name, the plant that has never stopped growing. Because, literally, it never has stopped growing in more than 25 years. Men and women who qualify for jobs at this New Jersey plant of the DuPont Company today, and the plant is still hiring both men and women, have the best assurance of continuing employment. For when the war is won, the plant that saves lives will turn back into the plant that has never stopped growing, offering interesting, important jobs for long years to come. Men and women growing up with America's age of chemistry, supplying America and the world with an ever-increasing number of DuPont better things for better living through chemistry. Now, Walter Houston.
Next week, our cavalcade play tells the thrilling story of another war, the war against pain. You meet the men who fought this war, and you'll see how the victory they won is helping today to spare the wounded from the agony of surgery. Our star is Brian Dunleavy. I'm sure his performance will thrill you when you hear him in The Conquest of Pain on next Monday's DuPont Cavalcade of America. Thank you and good evening.
The music on tonight's cavalcade was composed and conducted by Robert Armbruster. This is Gene Whitman inviting you to tune in next week to The Conquest of Pain, starring Brian Dunleavy, brought to you by the E.I. DuPont de Nemours and Company of Wilmington, Delaware. And think of this. The annual sale of Christmas seals has helped to reduce deaths caused by tuberculosis by 75%. Yet, since Pearl Harbor, TB has killed 145,000 civilians. That's why you should help by buying Christmas seals now. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Good evening, everybody. This is Orson Welles. Tonight, the Mercury Wonder Show is pitching its tent at the Los Angeles Port of Embarkation in Wilmington, and right here, I'm sorry to have to make this announcement. But the guest star we originally planned to have with us tonight just wasn't available at this time, so we had to take somebody else. I know this is a big disappointment to you, but it just couldn't be helped. So appearing with us tonight instead of Bela Lugosi is Lana Turner. Thanks for taking it like this. You fellas are really good sports. Well, I know why you feel this way about Lana. I guess you've heard what a good job she's been doing playing all the Army camps. And not only just the big ones. Last week, Lana played a camp so small, the CO was an acting PFC. We had a nice trip. We had a nice trip coming down here to the camp tonight. The officers were swell, particularly Colonel Herbert. We were very flattered. We've never had a colonel come to Hollywood to escort us to the camp before. Of course, we've never had Lana Turner on the program before. I sat in the front of the car, and the colonel sat in the back next to Lana. It's the first time I've ever seen a colonel with barbecued eagles. And now, just in a minute, we're going to bring you one of our regular Mercury GI fables, a little something starring the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer somebody, Miss Lana Turner, plus the celebrated Private Mulvihill of See Here Private Hargrove, Dr. Keenan Wynn. But first, who's here but Johnny McIntyre?
Well, here it is, folks. Some Man's Holiday, or The Case of the Cranky Crank Case. Listen.
A car goes limping along the road. The crankcase is very low on oil. What little it's got is winter oil, tired out and thin. What it needs is a fill-up of fresh summer Mobil oil, the right grade for midsummer driving. Without fresh oil, that car's headed toward a breakdown. But wait, it's not too late. Just ahead looms the sign of the Flying Red Horse, that famous stop where a friendly fellow sells summer Mobil oil. And that car's turning in. Yes, that thirsty crankcase is going to get Mobil oil. And Mobil oil will ward off wear and friction. It will keep the motor clean and running smoothly. Listen. Hear that? That's more like it. Mobil oil is the proper grade for hot and dusty driving days. That car's all set for summer, and it's set to run much better longer. Take the tip and keep your crankcase filled with regular changes of summer Mobil oil, the world's largest selling motor oil.
You know, nowadays, the Mercury Theater is spending most of its time entertaining servicemen with a magic show, and this gets us around to an awful lot of Army camps. Well, in one of the camps, just a week or so back, they told us a story. We can't tell you the name of the camp, but we can tell you the story. Maybe you won't believe this story, but we do. We want to. Here it is the way we heard it. You'll decide for yourself what to think about it. Seems a lot of Joes in this camp were chewing the fat on the front porch of the service club.
Well, it's weird, that's what it is.
Yeah, well, what was it? How did it happen?
Well, like I'm telling you, some dumb clerk leaves a truck on the hill in back of Barrack C and forgets to put the brakes on.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I know, the truck starts rolling. Now, here's the truck rolling down the hill, heading off the road, and it's loaded with shells, mind you. So I closes my eyes and I holds my ears. You know how loud noises disturbs me. Well, after a minute, nothing happens, so I opens my eyes. And there's the truck stopped dead in the middle of the hill, and sitting on the ground 6 inches in front of the truck is Private Holloway.
Was he hurt bad?
No, it didn't touch him, I tell you. It comes to a stop 6 inches in back of him, and the truck just stood there, kind of quivering all over.
Well, didn't Holloway see it coming?
No, he was just sitting there looking at a picture of Lana Turner.
No wonder the truck was quivering. I'd quiver a little myself.
Hey, Schnitzer! What is it, Sarge?
Where's Holloway?
In the barracks, looking at Lana Turner's picture.
Well, go get him.
Oh, no, I ain't going near him. There's something about that guy that ain't kosher. He's looking at that picture. Strange things happen, and he's always looking at it and talking to it. You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. You made me love you, and all the time you knew it. I guess you always do it. Oh, gee, Lana. I never get tired of looking at your picture. All the other guys got 15 or 20 pictures, all different girls. I used to have pictures of all the different movie stars until I found your picture. Now I'm ready to settle down. I guess I've always been crazy about you. I'll never forget you in Honky Tonk, where you were married to Clark Gable, and he was always leaving you to play poker. You cried because you didn't think he was ever coming back. I wasn't so sure he was either. Gosh, how you cried. But at the end of the picture, he did come back, and then I cried. You won't remember this, Lana, but I met you once face to face. Honest Injun, I did. I was standing outside the canteen. You came rushing out the stage door and bumped into me, right smack into me. You didn't hurt me, though. You thought you did. You looked right at me and said, "I'm sorry," and patted me on the cheek. That was 1.5 years ago, and I still haven't washed that spot. Then one day I saw your picture on a billboard advertising Swoon Queen Bubble Soap. Well, what's good enough for you is good enough for me, Lana. I borrowed a soup vat from the kitchen and took a bubble bath. Gosh, it was frothy. And just like you said in the ad, Lana, those bubbles sure last, because ever since that day we've been getting soup with a head on it. I don't have to tell you how I'm feeling. The very mention of your name gets my heart reeling. You know you made me love you. Gosh, Lana, I wish I could see you again in person. When I was a kid, Mother
always told me that if you wished hard enough for something, it'd come true. But I guess that's just one of those fairy stories mothers tell their kids.
What makes you say that?
Well, after all, when you grow up, you just know that those things are impossible. They just can't happen. And that...
Well, what's the matter?
Well, you. Lana, I mean, Miss Turner, here.
Well, you wished for me, didn't you?
Oh, well, gee, I never dreamed that. A girl here in the barracks. I think it's against the rules. I could get gigged for this.
Oh, then you want me to leave?
Oh, no, please don't. But maybe I'd better find someplace to hide you.
Oh, that isn't necessary. Nobody can see or hear me. Here, let me show you something. Look in that mirror. Can you see me?
No, that's strange. I can see me in the mirror. Maybe there's no room for you. Gosh, this may be all a dream. You may not be here at all.
Oh, I'm here, all right. I'll prove it to you. Here.
Boy, are you here. Now I don't have to wash either side of my face. Gee, Lana Turner right here in the barracks with me. I haven't been so happy since they showed us Jane Eyre. But how did you get here? Where'd you come from?
Now, don't ask any questions. There are some things that can't be explained.
But my sergeant doesn't like things that can't be explained. He wouldn't understand. In fact, there are a lot of things he doesn't understand even after they've been explained to him.
Well, now that I'm here, what would you like to do? Are you hungry? I could arrange a big lunch just by snapping my fingers. Steak, French fried potatoes, apple pie.
Oh, no, thanks, no. We soldiers prefer K rations.
Well, then perhaps we can have some fun. I'll drive into town and we can take in a show and then go for a moonlight drive through the park.
Oh, it's awfully nice of you, Lana, but I couldn't make it tonight. You see, if I stay in camp tonight, I have a chance to hear the Articles of War again.
Sorry, but I don't understand you, soldier. Why did you wish for me?
Well, I don't know. I just like to look at you and talk to you and...
Oh. Well, all right, then. Let's talk. What would you like to discuss? Girls?
Please. There are some things we soldiers don't talk about. Lana, I don't like to mention this, but you're beginning to fade a little. I don't see you as well as I did before.
Oh, that always happens when I get a little tired.
Come to think of it, I'm a little tired, too. What do you say? Let's split a salt tablet.
No, what I need is lunch, and I'm going to have a little right now. Abracadabra.
Hey, where did this turkey come from?
Well, now, never mind. Just dig in.
Look at that turkey.
I'll help myself.
This turkey leg is wonderful. This must be made from real turkey. You better duck. Here comes my sergeant. Look out now.
Oh, now, don't worry. He can't see or hear me.
But look out. Here he is.
Holloway, I thought I told you. Hey, Holloway, what are you doing with your hands up to your mouth?
Be careful what you say. He can't see the turkey leg either.
Holloway, I said, what are you doing with your hands up to your mouth?
I'm playing a harmonica.
You what?
I'm playing a harmonica, and it's delicious.
You're playing a harmonica. Leave us hear you play My Old Kentucky Home.
Well, I can't do it without salt and pepper.
You can't do it. Now, wait a minute, sad sack. What's going on?
Now, please, Sarge, watch your language. There's a lady present.
Oh, excuse me, miss. Hey, what is this?
Oh, now you've let the cat out. You better explain it to him.
All right, I will, dear.
Well, it's very nice of you, sweetheart. Hey, what's going on here?
Well, Sarge, this is kind of hard to explain. You see, to understand, you have to believe in fairy stories.
Now, wait a minute, soldier. Smile when you say that.
Wait, Sarge. What I'm trying to say is there's a girl here with me.
Oh, hiding a girl in the barracks.
No. She's standing right here next to me, Sarge, only you can't see her.
Oh, I can't see her.
No.
I suppose she come with the harmonica.
Well, yes, in a way, Sarge. Or I might as well introduce you to you, Sarge. This is Lana Turner.
Well, I'm glad to know you. I'm Charles Boyer.
No, Sarge, I know it's hard to believe, but honest, Lana Turner is standing here right next to me.
Oh, it's not so hard to believe. Look who's standing next to me. Gypsy Rose Lee. Miss Lee, this is Miss Turner, and this is Private Holloway. Why don't we all go up to Miss Muffet's house and sit around on some puffets and eat some curds and whey? Come with me, you G.I. Cinderella. At ease. What is it, Sergeant? I got Private Holloway outside, Lieutenant. I think you better see him. What's the trouble? I think he blew his top. What? Maybe I'd better explain. I walked into our barracks just now, and Holloway has got a harmonica Only I can't see it, and he can't play it because he ain't got no salt and pepper.
Just a moment, Sergeant. What was that again?
Well, look, sir, maybe I'd better bring Holloway in.
Yes, do that. Right this way, Private.
Thank you, Sergeant.
I better go in with you.
Oh, you do,
At ease,
please.
Private.
Yes.
Oh, he's good looking, isn't he?
Handsomest lieutenant on the post.
Flattery will get you nowhere, soldier.
Oh, and he's so cute when he gets mad.
Please, you'll get me into a jam. Don't say anything more, honey.
What was that?
Oh, I wasn't speaking to you, sir.
Well, let's hope not.
Lana, can't you do something? Can't you make him understand, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, soldier. They can't see me, and I haven't the power to make them see me. Here, let me show you. See? I'm waving my handkerchief right in front of the lieutenant's face.
Holloway, how long have you been using perfume?
Well, you've got me wrong, sir. I never use anything but GI soap.
GI soap never smelled that good. If I'm not mistaken, that's taboo.
The sergeant doesn't smell as good as he thinks he does. It happens to be Chanel No. 5.
You're wrong, Sergeant. Chanel No. 5.
He admits it. That settles it. Come on with me. All right. All right, Holloway. Just sit down and relax.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you can forget the sir here. Try to think of me as your friend, the doctor. Not as an officer.
Yes, sir. I mean doctor, sir.
You see, Holloway, sometimes when our minds are taxed or strained, we think we see things that don't actually exist.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, if there's anything I can do to help. What do you think you've been seeing, sir?
No, Holloway, I'm afraid you haven't got the idea. I'm talking about you, not me. Now, this vision that you think you've seen.
No, doctor, I thought you'd understand. It wasn't just a vision. It was really Lana Turner. I know her anywhere with her lovely blonde hair and cool blue eyes and luscious red lips and that perfect figure. There was no mistaking it. Why, she even put her arms around me and kissed me. Right here. Excuse me, Doc. That's a pencil you're lighting, not a cigarette.
Yeah, so it is. You see, Holloway, some of us have delusions. But that's all right. The danger is if we believe them.
Well, I don't know what you mean, Doc. I was sitting in my barracks looking at this picture of Lana Turner when all of a sudden there she was standing right next to me.
Maybe we better try the blocks. You see, Holloway, sometimes our imaginations build for us a world that doesn't really exist.
What's the matter, soldier? More trouble?
Oh, Lana, I'm so glad you showed up.
I beg your pardon?
Well, I was just talking to Lana. She's here now.
Now, Holloway, keep calm. Let's talk this over intelligently. Here, have a smoke.
No, thanks. I don't smoke pencil.
Oh, darn it, I did it again. Now, look, son, if you persist in this delusion, this vision that you claim to see of Lana Turner, you will eventually withdraw completely from the world of reality. Your life will become one long daydream filled with Lana Turner.
Oh, is that bad?
Holloway, there's nothing wrong with you. You're as sane as I am.
Saner?
But there are no ghosts, no spirits. We live in a world of facts, not fancy. Science. Science is a wonderful thing. A plus B equals C. Cause, effect. Now, let me show you. This button on my desk, you see wires run from it to a battery, which is in turn connected with a buzzer. I press the button, the buzzer rings. But if I walk away from the desk, if I do not push the buzzer...
Now, don't worry, soldier. I'll get you out of this.
Does the buzzer ring? Does it? Does it? That's the trouble with the wires they make today. Short circuits.
It wasn't a short circuit, Doctor. Lana pushed the button.
She did nothing of the sort. I must have pressed it myself. I often do that without thinking. I like to hear the buzzer buzz. It sounds pretty.
Doctor, I think you need a doctor.
You do? I mean, who asked you? Now, sit down and let's talk this over sensibly. Have a pencil, a cigarette. Now, listen to me, Holloway. If your girlfriend is in this room, she's the biggest hunk of nothing I ever saw.
Well, I like that.
Holloway, you can get 5 years for this.
I wasn't near you, sir. Lana did it. You shouldn't have spoken to her that way.
Lana did it. No. Lana Turner, right here in these here barracks. Think of that.
Ah, that's a lot of scuttlebutt.
How do you know, Sarge? You know, I read about a thing like that once in a book, where a guy was nuts about a dame, only couldn't see her because they kept her locked up in a tower with a dragon on guard duty, see? But this guy, he used to think about her so hard that she'd appear in front of him. And if people are crazy enough about each other, maybe it can happen. After all, love is sometimes a very beautiful and tender emotion. Kiss me. Oh, cut it out, son.
All Holloway does is he holds Lana Turner's picture like this, huh? Then he talks to it and she appears, huh?
That's what Holloway says. And I believe him.
Well, that's right. You believe that. Tomorrow I'll tell you all about the bees and the flowers. Look, Miss Turner, maybe I don't know the right words. Maybe that holding this picture of yours is exactly right. But you can overlook that, can't you? If you could just appear right now, I mean, you wouldn't have to stay long. That is, I wouldn't hurt you or anything. What I mean is, just like to see you. Honest, Miss Turner. Honest. I believe in fairy stories. Maybe you're here now. If you are, Miss Turner, could you leave me know it somehow? Wouldn't have to be nothing elaborate. Just kiss me on the cheek or something. Go ahead. Miss Turner, you're not cooperating. Can't you even say a word to me? Huh?
Sergeant.
Was that you, dear?
Sergeant.
Oh, coming, Colonel.
What's wrong with everybody today? Where's Captain Peters?
He's in his office, sir, talking to a picture of Hedy Lamarr. What's that? I mean, I'll get him, sir.
And ask Private Holloway to step in here.
Yes, sir.
Holloway!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is she still with you, Holloway?
Right here next to me. Why?
Asked her to wave her handkerchief under my nose again.
Would you, Lana?
Of course. There.
Did you get it, Sarge?
It's heavenly, ain't it?
Yeah,
The Colonel wants to see you, Holloway.
Well, I'll go with you.
All right, you go along with me.
At ease, Private Holloway.
Yes, sir.
I have a report here that several incidents involving you have upset the routine today. Now, what's the trouble? Are you a malcontent?
Oh, no, sir.
Are you unhappy here? Would you like to be transferred?
Oh, no, sir. I'm very happy. This has been the happiest day of my life, sir.
Well, that's awfully sweet of you,
Oh,
Soldier.
no, I mean it, Lana. Every word of it.
I beg your pardon.
No.
Well, I knew you liked me, but I didn't know you felt this way.
Oh, honey, I'm crazy about you.
What did you say, Holloway?
Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm busy. I've always felt this way about you, Lana.
You're busy?
I've always...
Oh, you're so sweet. You know that I could just kiss you for that, Soldier.
I wish you would kiss me.
Holloway, do you realize what you're saying?
Oh, excuse me, sir. I didn't mean you.
Never mind what you meant. And you can unpucker now.
Oh, gosh, I seem to be getting you into one jam after another.
Oh, I don't mind. It's worth it.
What's worth what? What are you talking about?
Oh, now I've got to explain it to him.
Well, go ahead. I'll try to help.
Well, you see, sir, it's this girl. I'm kind of stuck on her, and I think about her so much that sometimes I talk to her out loud.
That's the stuff. Keep punching.
All right, I'll keep right on punching. And sometimes when I talk to her like that, it's just like she's really there or here.
Come on, now,
You
keep
know
it
what I
up.
mean?
Look, I'll wave my
Sir?
handkerchief under his nose.
Well, that's all there is to it, sir. And, of course, I don't expect you to believe me, but...
But I do believe you, Holloway.
Hooray! We got him.
You do, sir?
Yes. You see, Holloway, I, too, once felt the way you do about a girl.
Really, sir?
Mm-hmm. Lana Turner.
Oh, you darling, you.
Please, attention! Fall off! Holloway, what was that? Did you see anything?
Well, I did, sir, but I don't think you did.
Oh, what was it? Something brushed my face. Here, what is this on my cheek? Lipstick?
It ain't strawberry jam, sir.
Well, that will be all, Private Holloway. Return to your post.
Yes, sir.
And Holloway.
Yes, sir.
Holloway, just between us, I don't think we should mention this to anyone.
No, sir.
Well, I guess that straightens everything out. So long, Soldier.
Oh, do you have to leave now? Oh, please, sir, before she goes, could I have a word with her alone?
Why, certainly I'll step outside.
Gee, he's a right guy.
She says you're a right guy, sir.
Really? You may thank her for me.
Gee, I just want to thank you, Miss Turner. It's been wonderful. You have to leave now?
Yes, I do.
Will I see you again?
Well, that's up to you, soldier. But would you do me a favor before I go?
After what you've done for me? Or anything. Just name it.
Would you kiss me, soldier?
Would I kiss you? Favor, she says. I'll say I will. Boy, this is a wonderful army.
So long, soldier.
So long, Lana.
You know, friends, there's a lot of words that rhyme with mile, and every one of them applies to mobile gas. Smile. Will you ever when you see the mileage that you get from mobile gas? Worth your while. That's mobile gas. It's packed with every wartime mile it's possible to give you. In style, I'll say mobile gas is America's most popular, most asked-for gasoline. Don't you want a gasoline that gives you all the mileage that it did in peacetime? Well, that's mobile gas, the brand that war plant workers, farmers, doctors, salesmen, everybody says is mile-worthy. Get it in your car, folks, mobile gas. It's a ration coupon stretcher. In style, worth your while. You drive with mobile gas and smile. Stop in at the sign of the Flying Red Horse. And, P.S. Ask your mobile gas dealer for a used tax stamp protector. It's free. Guards the used tax stamp on your windshield when it's washed or polished. Have him paste it on. Speak up for one. It's free.
All right, now you're going to hear the Mercury All-Star Jazz Combination, plus Lud Gluskin's Blue Blowers, render a little jive. Now, mind you, please, what you're about to hear isn't precisely jazz, but it's fun for the men who are playing it, and we found that the men out here at the camps like it, too. Also, I like it. So, we hope you share our enthusiasm. Take it, Papa Lud. I want to thank Colonel James K. Herbert for his help and cooperation. Our show out here